This is a toebiter. Yeah, might sound funny, but these little bugs live in lakes and spend all day eating everything they lay their eyes on. And to humans, they're known for injecting venom into toes, causing extreme amounts of pain. And you already know, the delivery drivers worked overtime to get these to me as soon as possible. So I cut it open so I could get out the containers. Supposedly, the bugs were inside.
All right, let's see these. Oh, shoot. No, this thing's massive.
Since it was kind of hard to get a good look at them in these containers, I got out this temporary tank and put them in. I was very careful because supposedly these guys have wings, meaning they could just fly out to my toes and start biting them if I wasn't careful. Anyways, now we can really see how absolutely vicious these guys are with their insanely sharp pincher forceps that they actually use to latch onto prey in the wild. Then, using a little sharp mouthpiece they have, they inject a special type of venom into prey that turns the inside of their body into liquid that they then proceed to slurp up like a smoothie.
Yeah, I really hope these guys don't escape while making this video. But anyways, let's just build them a home and keep them as pets.
This can't go well, but the first step is to make the background of their home. To make this look good, I wanted to put this black board along the back. That way the tank would have more of this dark feel that matches how creepy the toebiters are. Then I got out some spray foam. Yep, wouldn't be a Terra Green video without it. But this time I used the foam to connect all these pieces of cork bark along the back to add some sort of natural feel to it. I even went and covered all the excess spray foam with some dirt so it wouldn't be as ugly.
But the coolest thing is, as you can see, is I actually hid some of these plant pots along the top. Basically, it's gonna allow me to plant some beautiful plants in here, and it's gonna be super luscious by the end of the video, probably.
But to really complete this backdrop, we need to add these. These are called sticks. Yep, and we're gonna put these along the back wall. If you didn't know, sticks are really cool because they grow from trees, and they're actually made of wood. I'm just kidding, guys. I know you guys all know what sticks are. I don't know why I'm explaining this. Anyways, yeah, I put so many of these sticks along the back because I really wanted to make this place look like some underwater mangrove swamp with so many roots everywhere.
I'm already loving how this is coming together, and we're not even on step 2, which is actually to make the floor and decorations.
For this build, I just wanted to use this simple gravel material for the floor. But along with it, I've also got this, which I've never actually used before. It's a little underground cave that goes up against the glass. Basically, after we go and fill up the rest of this floor with gravel, you can see this cave stays as an open area that stuff can go inside. And maybe our toebiters will come and chill in here, or maybe some of the prey we add will come and hide in here, for as long as they can, of course.
Now, you're probably wondering why I didn't add any of this aqua soil like I usually do. And well, that's because I'm not gonna put any sort of plants in here this time.
Instead, I want it to look like some abandoned swampy area with super murky water. And we do that by putting a ton of natural materials around, like this big driftwood piece coming out the middle, and then a bunch of smaller stuff, like these dead leaves, some mini pine cones, and little sticks.
But most importantly, I've got some beta miracle leaves. Oh yeah, I don't know why they're called miracle leaves, but hopefully they spread some sort of miracle around the tank, something like that, surely.
But actually, I kind of do know why these are called miracle leaves. Because if I go and fill up this floor area with just a bit of water, you can see over the span of about an hour, it starts to turn into this brown, murky color. That's because those leaves and all the other natural stuff I added inside is spreading around tannins in the water, which turns it this color. And it's actually super healthy for any fish or bugs that would live in here. Dang, the more you know. Anyways, I drained that while I continued on with the build by putting in a few lava rocks and covering them in a bit of the sphagnum moss, which I also put all over the background of the enclosure.
Finally, the most important decoration is some little mini plastic boots. Yeah, because we all know at the bottom of every lake and stuff, they just got like boots and stuff. At least that's what all the fishing games I've played have told me. Yeah, I got some pretty cool decorations, as you can see. I'm just gonna put that there.
Now for my favorite part of each of these weird pet videos, the DIY decorations. And for the first one, let's make some pictures. Yep, I literally went out and bought these mini dollhouse picture frames. I'm just gonna scatter all around the enclosure with funny pictures of toebiters.
And to make some funny pictures, I gotta do some photoshopping. I'm a Photoshop master, so this should go pretty well.
First of all, I used my expert skills to make a picture of a toebiter eating one of its favorite foods ever, a frog. Yes, they actually eat frogs in the wild. Then I made this picture of a toebiter flying in the air with beautiful angel wings. Because yeah, like I said, they can actually fly with their actual wings, but they don't look as majestical as these angel wings, of course. Finally, I found this picture of what it looks like when a toebiter lays eggs. Yeah, apparently they literally keep them on their back until they hatch. So I put a bunch of baby toebiters all around this mom toebiter.
Then we just gotta go and print out these fantastical pictures. And yes, I finally got a printer at my house, so I don't gotta go to the store no more. And wait, no, what the heck is this, bruh? Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, I forgot you gotta buy color for the ink. Okay, I guess I gotta go to the store anyways. Please do that, by the way.
Yeah, so I drove to the printing store to get the photos instead. Anyways, when I got home, I cut out all the little images and put them inside their frames. As you can see, I obviously have the ones I photoshopped, but I also found this picture of all the toebiters' favorite foods, like insects and fish, so they can daydream about them all day. And I also found this picture on Google of some crazy person who willingly let this thing bite him. Why the heck would you do that, bro? I don't know, I just thought I had to put this in. Anyways, for the next DIY build, I'm gonna make some signs. Yep, I literally went out and bought all these random pieces of wood so I could burn some cool patterns on them with my super hot wood burning pen. With the first sign, I made it say, beware of the biter. And I even put a little bit of eye emojis at the bottom. You know, I just thought those looked cool. And then on the second sign, I made it said, rest in peace to all the insects and fish that enter this tank. Because as you know, toebiters do not take kindly to those kind of things.
And I could just go and put these inside of the tank. I kind of want them to look like signs. So I got these sticks that I use for the background, which I'm gonna go and hot glue to the back of them.
Once they dried, I stuck the two signs in the floor and got out the final sign that I was gonna make a pattern on. This time, I stuck these little wooden letters onto the sign to write toebiters. Then I completely burned all the letters black so they stood out.
All right, let's just hang that right there. And oh, that's actually fire. Hold on, wait, that's actually on fire. Oh, no, I'm just kidding, guys. It's just some editing. Yeah, don't worry, but it is actually fire. That's pretty cool.
And now the build only needs one more thing. Some plants to put in those pots that I had at the top of the enclosure. Instead, just got out these terrarium plants that I had sitting in my garage. Listen, guys, I tried to go to Walmart. I know you guys get mad at me whenever I don't, but hopefully this is good enough for you guys. And anyways, once the plants were inside, I filled it up with water. And as you can see, it turned super brown from all the tannins, of course, which is perfect. That's exactly how I wanted it. And yep, this is now 100% complete. We don't need a filter or anything because toebiters are extremely resilient to water. So the next thing is to literally just get these guys inside.
Okay, I gotta be extremely cautious with this. I have no idea how I'm gonna do this. I'm just gonna, okay, 3, 2, 1, quickly pick it up. Oh, they both fell off. No. Okay, they're swimming around. I'm gonna put this back on top so they don't fly out.
So I instead went with a different approach and moved the cork bark to the new tank and instead used this net to try and transport the toebiters without them flying away.
Okay, move. Okay.
Thankfully, it was a little bit more successful, so I did the same with the other toebiter, and you can see they both just swam straight down to grab onto something, and they stayed completely still. But they do this for a purpose. You see, toebiters have evolved to have the exact same pattern and shape as a dead leaf, and they stay completely still till some prey swims by them. Then they pounce on it.
So you already know, let's test the 3 food sources with these guys, starting with the smallest, which is actually mealworms, which I got right here.
Mealworms are one of the most common foods for the kind of pets I keep, so I had a feeling these guys would definitely enjoy them. First of all, I dumped one in the water with some tweezers and waved around in front of this guy. And instantly, he dashed off of his rock towards it, and it actually scared me a bit, but he didn't even actually end up attacking the mealworm. So when he found a new spot to go and rest, I did the same exact thing. And this time, he struck at it, and he scared me so much, I actually dropped the tweezers with the worm. I don't know why this scared me. I'm literally using tweezers, but yeah. Anyways, on the third attempt, this is what happens. He went and grabbed the mealworm with his claws, and he actually got a good grip with it. Then he brought out his sharp mouthpiece and started finding a good spot to poke into the worm with. Eventually, he made the bite, and as I said earlier, they inject a special digestive enzyme into their prey that turns the inside of them into a liquid that they then proceed to slurp up like a smoothie. And yeah, this must have been a tasty, tasty smoothie.
All right, I'm gonna give mealworms a 7 out of 10 because those toebiters liked them kind of a lot. But next up, we got an even bigger insect. We got some roaches, baby. I think there's roaches in here. Oh yeah, right there. You see them?
I wanted to make this one quick, so instantly I put one of these roaches in front of the second toebiter, and almost immediately he pounced onto my tweezers totally, and he just like would not let go. I think he didn't even see the roach, so I just knocked him off the tweezers and tried again. This time he actually grabbed the roach, but he also grabbed onto my tweezers again and straight up just would not let go. So I kind of just set the tweezers down while he ate the roach, and you can see this guy was also absolutely slurping this up and probably enjoying it a lot.
All right. I'll give roaches a 8 out of 10. It seemed like they like them a little bit more. But now it's time for the toebiters' real favorite food, or at least that's what I've heard. You see, insects are great and all, but but in order for my toebiters to be healthy and thriving, they need to eat fish because that's what they eat in the wild mostly.
And thankfully online, there's tons of websites that sell feeder fish just for this purpose. So I bought 2 of them so we can get our pet toebiters their proper nutritions. The next day, they got delivered, so I got them ready to feed.
All right, let's do this. And I even got my GoPro so I can get some nice underwater shots of these toebiters eating. Let's dump one of these fish inside.
The fish that I had put inside immediately started swimming around. But little did he know that this was the home of my pet toebiters, which were secretly sitting right next to him, watching his every move. And only a couple minutes later, he got a little too curious and started swimming near the toebiter. The toebiter was preparing to strike, but he had to wait for the perfect opportunity in order to not scare the fish away. And when the moment was right, he pounced off the rocks and missed and scared it away. Bruh, come on, I thought you were a master hunter. So instead, 5 minutes later, I decided to just help him out by feeding him with some tweezers. There you go, boy. Hope you enjoy. And yeah, this seemed like it was probably his favorite food, and he would not let go. But since it's easier and nicer to feed insects, I'll mostly stick to them, and I'll just have fish be a special occasion for when they need the proper nutrients. Anyways, this is pet toebiters. Hope you guys learned something new. During the day, there's tons of rocks, which when you flip them, you find cool little bugs like this. But you see, if you wait until night to flip rocks, you're able to find way crazier nocturnal animals like glowing scorpions, giant tarantulas, and so much more that you would have never found during the day.
So hey, it's night. I traveled out to an insane trail that is known for having the craziest nocturnal animals. Let's get to flipping object number 1.
And I'm not kidding, literally on this first rock flip, I found a little California scorpion, which you may already know have the ability to glow in the dark under UV light. Yeah, pretty much every nocturnal animal has some crazy ability, and in this video, I'm gonna be finding way more insane stuff. Anyways, I went to flip rock number 2, and right underneath was a little spider web with a poor innocent ant trapped inside. So I figured I'd try and help the ant out of the web before a spider came to eat him, but that's when I saw that the ant's movement was being really weird, and it was twitching everywhere. That's when I realized that this ant's head was missing. Yeah, I have no idea how this thing is even moving without a brain even connected to its body, but I guess the spider, which at first you may see nothing, but if you take a closer look, this is a tarantula burrow with the biggest tarantula I've ever found while rock flipping. Since tarantulas like this are nocturnal, you basically never get to see them eat, so since it's night, this is the perfect time to test its eating ability. So I took out the backpack to get something important.
It's the new Terra Green activity book.
Yeah, I just released this new book with hours of fun animal activities with the first 100 even hand signed. I'll show you more later, but let's get out what I actually meant to grab from the backpack, a crickets and tweezers. And instantly, I brought the cricket right over to the tarantula's mouth. And yeah, in my last rock flipping video, I tried the same exact thing with no luck of it eating. But this tarantula was clearly much more receptive since it was night and grabbed the cricket straight from my tweezers.
Oh my gosh, he just absolutely devoured that cricket.
And I promise you, that's still just the start of the crazy animals I'm finding on this trail, because under rock number 9, there was actually something pretty interesting. It wasn't big or anything, it was just this little spider. But what caught my attention was his abdomen, because it looked like an eye. Seriously, it just looks like an eye off of some sort of snake species. Imagine when this spider grows bigger and sets up a web in the trees, it's just gonna look like a menacing eye staring down at you, especially at night. That's gotta be creepy. Anyways, as I kept on walking, I got to object 14, and underneath was this little white thing. It's an oak toad, and it's actually pretty dang cute. And right next to this white oak toad was a darker brown oak toad, which if you didn't know, this is the smallest toad species in all of America, and since they're pretty unique, I just had to take out the backpack. And once again, I pulled out some crickets, but this time they're a bit smaller, so these toads will hopefully be able to eat them. So I tried dropping in a few first near the white toad, and he didn't seem very interested. He kind of just hid under the dirt, so I tried putting some crickets by the brown toad, and he just started running away full speed and also wasn't hungry. However, while that was happening, I saw this little ant walk by, and in his mouth was just some massive green worm. I guess he was bringing this back to the colony. Good catch, bro. The queen's gonna be proud of you. And the next rock that I flipped that had something interesting was this. At first, all I saw was another one of those little eye spider things, but as I was getting a closer look at it, out of the corner of my eye, I saw this. A little garter snake burrow. And yep, there was just a snake curled up in there. These guys aren't nocturnal, so this guy was probably just sleeping in here and I just woke him up. Thankfully, they're not venomous though, which I know because in the new Terra Green activity book, there's tons of fun facts. And on this page, it shows all the differences between venomous and non-venomous snakes, and after comparing them, I could tell that if this guy bit me, it would be completely fine. There's no venom.
Okay, well the snake clearly doesn't want to be disturbed, so let me go and put his rock back and let's keep exploring.
And right after walking away, I came across this rock, which had a queen ant under it. It looks like her first worker litter had just hatched, and it was helping the queen with the rest of the eggs. It's crazy to think that every massive colony with thousands of workers starts like this. So I put the rock back, so hopefully this colony can grow that large. Anyways, as I kept on traveling, the next good rock flip was this, because underneath was a super creepy bug. At first, it was running around super fast, and I couldn't really get a good look at it, but eventually when it stood still, I could tell this was a house centipede, which usually live in houses, hence their name. So I guess this guy escaped into the forest, and yeah, they're just so creepy.
I mean, it's got the head of a cricket, as many legs as a centipede, obviously. And I don't know, it's just like some mutant creature, basically. Oh my gosh, it's so fast.
Yeah, it's basically an alien creature. And speaking of alien creatures, under the very next rock, I found this. It's an ant colony. But what actually caught my attention was right over to the side. This thing. You see, I actually found one of these in my first rock flipping video, but I never really got a good look at it since it was buried in the ground. Well, here it is outside of the ground. It's a Jerusalem cricket, and they are so weird looking. I don't know what it is, but just like seeing this thing walk around creeps me out. I feel like it's gonna jump on me or something. Now, for a little while, as I continued down the trail, I was flipping tons of rocks and kinda just wasn't finding anything cool. So I actually got a good idea that led to something insane.
Bro, this must just be like the bad luck area. I swear, there's literally nothing. But I actually have a really good idea with something in the backpack. You see, in here, I've actually packed this thing, which is a thermal camera. And if there's animals out here, this thing's definitely gonna be able to track it. That's all I'll say.
Basically, a thermal camera picks up heat in the environment, which allows me to see animals during the night. So I started to just go around, pointing it in random directions and putting it under rocks. But as I was doing that, I saw something red appear on the camera. So I looked at what was in front of me and realized that this was an absolutely insane find. It was an antlion larva. If you don't know what these are, they're basically these little insects that dig out circular traps in the floor, specifically designed to trap ants. And when an unsuspecting ant walks in, the antlion makes an attack. And as you can see here, I found an antlion attacking an ant live in person. The antlion was throwing dirt up at the ant as it tried to escape. They do this to try and knock the ant back inside and make it super hard to escape. But I guess this antlion didn't dig a big enough hole because the ant was able to escape.
Bro, I didn't even know these guys lived in deserts. I thought they only lived in forests. That's so crazy.
But yeah, once antlion larvae eat enough ants, they basically evolve like a poke lion. Yeah, probably a few weeks ago, this used to be one of those tiny larvas, but now it has wings, and in fact, it was actually sticking the back of its abdomen in the dirt, laying eggs. Yeah, this antlion was completing its life's purpose and restarting its life cycle, which a very similar life cycle process is all laid out in the new Terra Green activity book, with even a fun activity at the bottom that lets you design your very own flying insect. Anyways, as I kept on traveling down the trail, I found something super creepy, because under this rock was a beetle. Now you may think that's nothing special, but after giving it a little tap to see its response, I realized that this beetle was long gone. In fact, if you remember that decapitated ant with no head from earlier, well, this beetle had the same exact thing, and his head was only a few inches away, just sitting on the floor.
Bro, what is going around in this forest decapitating all the insects? That's so weird. Okay, hopefully I can find whatever's doing that, because it's gotta be crazy.
A few objects later, I found 3 little millipedes just chilling around. I'm sure you already know this, but millipedes are cool because they got 1,000 tiny little legs that almost make it look like they're slithering around when they walk. Before these guys, I actually took out the backpack, and inside I got out some paintbrushes. I know, seems weird, but just bear with me, because using paintbrushes, I wanted to show millipedes' defense mechanism, which usually activates when you rub them, but I was rubbing this millipede with the paintbrush for like a while, and it was just having a good time continuing to walk. So I went and did the same thing to his friend, and pretty much instantly, this guy did what he was supposed to and rolled up into a ball, which keeps them safe from potential danger.
Okay, that was what was supposed to happen. I don't know why this guy is just kind of refusing to roll up into a ball.
Yeah, I guess this guy had a glitch in the system, or maybe he was just enjoying some free back scratches. I don't know. Anyways, the reason I love this trail so much is because at this point in it, the environment starts to switch from a forest into a desert, meaning I just unlocked an entire new pool of desert animals. And literally under the first rock flip of this new environment, I found a desert hairy scorpion, which is the largest in all of America. And obviously, it was much bigger than the one I found at the start of the video.
Now, as you guys know, scorpions are able to glow under UV light, like I showed earlier in the video, which of course, even the desert ones, they glow too. But I actually have something fun that I want to go and try and test with this guy.
From the backpack, I got out crickets and tweezers. I know, I'm feeding crickets again, but this was easily the coolest feeding experience I've had in a rock flipping video. Because at first, I put the cricket up to the scorpion's mouth, and he grabbed it with his pinchers and kind of just held it for a second.
Dang, he really just took the cricket from me. He's just holding it now. Bro, are you gonna eat it? Don't just leave the cricket in your claws. I bet that hurts the cricket, bro.
So I took it from him and gave him another chance to eat it. This time, time, he used both of his pinchers to get a really good grip on it. Then he slowly moved his stinger up to it and gave it a little tap. These guys' venom isn't deadly to humans, but to little crickets like this guy, it'll completely paralyze him while the scorpion eats. Now, I wanted to show you guys this super zoomed in footage because basically scorpions use their little mouthpieces to rip open their food until juice starts to leak out. Then they suck the juice up and you can literally see the juice fill up his head as he ate it. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. And then he kind of just started to walk around with the cricket in his mouth and no hands. Dang, bro, cool. Hope you enjoy the food. A few rock clips later, I ended up finding this. It was an ant colony, but they were super tiny. But what stood out to me was the fact that they almost all had wings, which is pretty rare. All of these winged ants are called elates, and basically they're born only once a year. It looks like they were getting ready for their annual nuptial flight, and probably when the morning comes, they're all gonna fly away, find other colonies of elates so they can mate with, and after they're done mating, the males die, and the females tear off their wings to start their own colony. It's pretty cool to see. As I continued on down the trail, I flipped to this, and found some blue death veining beetles. Not only are these guys pretty big and look super cool with their blue exoskeleton, but they have a crazy special ability to develop a kind of wax on their body that acts as a sunscreen. And they do this because the heat can obviously get pretty hot in desert environments, and this sunscreen they produce just allows them to thrive while other animals have to take breaks from getting too hot. But one of my favorite desert animals in the world was found under this rock. It's a velvet ant, but on YouTube, they're known as cow killers. I've made videos about keeping these guys as pets, and yeah, it said their sting is strong enough to kill a literal cow. I don't know if that's true, but I'm not gonna test it.
But there's actually something I want to test with this guy. Because you see, if we get out the Terra Green activity book and go over to the desert section, you can see it says cow killers make a squeaky sound when threatened. And yeah, I kind of use this book as like a handbook, but I've never actually seen a cow killer do that. So let's test it with this guy.
Using some tweezers, I picked it up. And don't worry, this doesn't hurt it at all because its exoskeleton is like a rock and basically is impossible to squish. While holding it, you could see the little stinger extend out of the back of the abdomen. But then I started to hear it squeak. As you can see, they're able to repeatedly contract their abdomen to make this squeaky sound when threatened. And honestly, I don't really know why they do this, because if I was a predator, this squeak would not deter me. I think they should just stick to using their insane stinger as a deterrence method. The next object I flipped had something I've never seen before. It's a camel spider. Probably the most creepiest, most disgustingest creature in all of the desert. I mean, it's a spider that almost looks like a scorpion and has a mouth of like an evil demon. But I know these guys from a video I was flipping, I was finding some more scorpions, which obviously I made all glow. I even found this baby scorpion next to an adult scorpion, and I don't know if this is the kid or something, but I do know scorpions have some of the most interesting ways to raise babies. Because once the moms give birth, all of the like 20 baby scorpions will latch onto the back of her and just chill there for up to 20 days. Very cool. Since deserts are super dry, you find a lot less of the tiny little bugs that I was finding in the forest, so a lot of the final rock flips just straight up had nothing. And I got all the way to rock 100, and when I flipped it, thankfully there was actually something, and I mean something insane. This is a wolf spider, which in itself is not actually that rare. I found a ton of them in the forest section that I just didn't end up showing since they were kind of small, but this guy was massive, like almost as big as that tarantula from the start of the video. And I've heard big wolf spiders like this are so cool to watch hunt, so I got crickets out one final time.
I go and try and feed one to the wolf spider. Okay, I'm just gonna drop it. Oh shoot, he just ambushed that. Oh my gosh, that's brutal. That happened in like half a second.
Yeah, crickets are definitely not a fan of the Terra Green channel because every time I bring them on, they end up in a wolf spider's mouth or something. But there are billions of lizards alive across the world, but out of all of them, one species stands out as unique.
What the hell, what?
Chameleons. You see, chameleons have the ability to be bred to have extremely rare color patterns, like a literal rainbow. But I just came across the rarest color variation that I have never seen before. This beautiful red and blue chameleon that literally looks like a Nintendo Switch. Just to represent how rare this is, let's say there's a billion lizards on Earth and about 1,000 of those are a chameleon with this exact color morph. That would mean there is a 0.0000001% chance of this existing. And sure, it may cost $899, but this is gonna easily be one of my coolest pets ever. And once I get it, I'll show off some special abilities of chameleons that many of you have probably never seen before. but it's gonna take a few days until it gets shipped out to my house. So in the meantime, I probably should build up an enclosure for the chameleon with everything it could possibly need to live an amazing life. And of course, to build that, I'm gonna need the giant 120-gallon terrarium and hundreds of dollars worth of supplies. But to start the build, the only thing we actually need is some dead leaves and bark. You see, to make the floor for a chameleon, you don't want to use normal materials like dirt. This is because chameleons have these special tongues that when they're shot out, they'll pick up stuff like dirt on the floor and eat it, which will make the chameleon sick. Yeah, I don't want that to happen. So even though this floor is super simple, it's actually perfect. But of course, the rare Nintendo Switch chameleon I'm getting is gonna need a lot more than this in his enclosure. Yeah, this is just definitely not enough. So for step number 2, I got a whole bunch of wooden branches. Now, as you can see, I installed these 2 metal bars going across the enclosure, which I'll start by covering in the branches I have. I made sure to make the branches reach all along the top of the enclosure, the bottom, the sides, and literally everywhere. And after they were secured in place with zip ties and foam, I covered up most of that ugly stuff with some moss and leaves. So it doesn't look like a 5-year-old made this anymore. I also got a bunch of these vine things, which are basically these long bendable rubber sticks that recreate the look of jungle vines, and they curve all around the enclosure. Okay, if I'm being honest, this does look a little bit cluttered and messy right now, but trust me, coming up in this video, I got some stuff planned that's gonna make this you know, actually look good and be an actually good enclosure. And plus, all these branches and vines are actually very necessary to allow the chameleon to climb and swing around the entire enclosure. And don't worry guys, because I'll be getting plants to cover up these big ugly foam things in the corner. Speaking of plants, I should probably put some in here since that's the next step to finishing this amazing home. But I don't have any right now, so I'm gonna go to the plant store. Now, of course, I drove to Walmart, as always, to buy my plants. And the plant section was actually amazing this time. I mean, they had a way better selection than they usually do. Just look at all of them. Oh my gosh, are you guys seeing this? $15 for this giant plant. Okay, that is actually a super good deal. You're only gonna see deals like that at Walmart. That is why I come here, guys. So I picked out all the plants the rare chameleon could possibly want and brought them home. Alright, so obviously I've got plants now, but you'd be stupid if you think I'm just gonna put these straight into the enclosure. Oh, no, 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 no. I'm going to make these plants way, way better. And what I mean by that is I'm gonna make them look extra cool with some animal-safe red and blue paint. Yeah, I'm gonna paint these plant pots to be the same color as the chameleon I'm getting. I don't know why, I just think it'll look cool, okay? Yeah, I did this on every plant pot. It took forever. But after letting the paint dry for a few hours, I started to scatter the plants along the floor and sides of the enclosure, and in no time I was done. And check this out. This looks I mean, it looks alright. I mean, the plants and everything look fine, but maybe the blue and red pots were not the best idea. The paint kind of started to fade. It's not even blue anymore, but it's still pretty funny, and I bet the chameleon's gonna like to see some of the stuff of his same color. So anyways, I gotta get to the next step. Let's just go to the next step right now. Let's go to the next step. Okay, anyways, on the to-do list, there's 2 more steps to make this a chameleon dream home, starting with some basic technology. And what this means is I've got a bunch of technology like this light bulb, which is necessary, but to be honest, it's nothing special. This light bulb in specific generates heat, and as you can see right in the basking spot under the heat lamp, it reaches up to 90 degrees, which is perfect. And of course, in a cooler part of the enclosure, it reaches about 70 degrees, so the chameleon won't get too hot or nothing. You know, we don't want the chameleon to get heat stroke. But another basic technology you need is a long UVB light bulb, which recreates the same UV rays the sun does. And basically, this lets the chameleon get vitamin D or something. It's pretty complex biology stuff, but it's very important. And finally, I set up a simple water misting system, which, you know, you just press a button and it starts spraying water all around the enclosure. Yeah, pretty simple, but it's very necessary. Okay, well, now that the boring technology is over, let's get some fun, custom, advanced technology in this enclosure. At the start, I got this big, cool blue thing. You see, earlier at Walmart, I saw these toys that were apparently made by the YouTuber Mr. Beast. And, you know, I love Mr. Beast, so I bought this egg-looking one, which I had an idea for how I could use in the chameleon enclosure. So I pressed a button to open it up, and inside was, this thing. What
the heck is this? Okay, I guess inside there's a Mr. Beast toy that makes that annoying noise. Well, I don't really know what I was expecting, but I guess let me just put this inside the chameleon enclosure, and there we go. If you're wondering why I put this in here, well, I was just thinking I want to give the chameleon a nice friend, and, you know, this is kind of animal looking thing, so, okay, I'm sorry, this is stupid. Let's just go to the next technology.
And now next on the to-do list, this one is even cooler than the last.
All right, so for the second thing I'm adding in here, basically, I just wanted to make it look more like a home. And as you know, most homes have paintings around their house because that's just what homes have. So I'm gonna add my own custom painting inside of here.
And to get the custom image made, I asked AI to make a picture of a red and blue chameleon wearing a suit.
And, oh, look at this. Look at this. Oh my gosh. Wait, okay, we're gonna put this painting inside the chameleon's home. Oh, this is gonna be pretty cool.
So I drove to the printing store and printed the image out, hoping no one around me would see me getting these stupid looking paintings.
Bruh. And there we go. Check it out. This looks pretty. I mean the painting looks kind of cool, but I don't really know why I added this either. It's a little useless, but anyways, this entire enclosure is actually pretty much finished. I don't know anything else I can add to it, so I guess it's just time to add the rare red and blue chameleon inside. Let's just cut to then. So as you can see, I got the lizard right here, and I don't know what I'm doing outside. I should probably just go put him in the enclosure.
So I opened up the package and immediately was amazed by its beauty.
Oh my gosh, this thing looks super cool. Okay, wait, this is easily gonna be my coolest looking pet.
The only thing to do was open the lid and let it crawl out when it was ready. And of course, it went straight to doing its stupid chameleon dance.
Well, what the hell, what?
Now, as you can see, the colors on it right now are sort of darker than what they should be. And that's because currently it's a bit stressed from just getting out of the shipping container. Coming up, I'll be explaining exactly how chameleons change color and why by showing you guys this rare lizard. But for now, I want to show the amazing ability that chameleons have to hunt prey from literally across the enclosure.
Now, you guys may not know this, but chameleons actually love crickets. Like literally all my other pets, and crickets are pretty healthy for chameleons, so yeah, that's what I'm gonna be feeding him today.
So I waited a few hours before putting any crickets in to allow the chameleon to adjust to his new home. And as you can see, soon enough, his color started to brighten up, and that means he's ready to hunt.
Come on, crickets, get out, get out. There we go. Yeah, get out.
I put a few of the crickets inside, and at first they sort of just started to mind their own business, just walking around looking for food, you know. But little did they know that they are about to become food for this guy.
Hi, how are you?
Now, the first ability chameleons have for hunting is their eyes. As you can see, both of his eyes are able to move in different directions, constantly scanning everywhere around him in front and behind at the same time. And it wasn't long until the chameleon set one of his eyes on one of the little crickets. He started to move into attack position very slowly. Yeah, chameleons are so slow, they're basically sloths. And while this cricket thought he was safe, little did he know what was about to happen. Chameleon's second ability, their insane tongue that's over a foot long. Yeah, whenever this chameleon was within a couple feet of a cricket, it locked onto the target and shot its tongue directly towards it. And because the tongue is so sticky, it just brought the cricket in with it so it could enjoy a nice, tasty meal. And after seeing how cool it was when the chameleon hunted, I got a funny idea.
Okay, you see this cricket here? I'm gonna get this onto my hand like that. And then I'm literally gonna try and feed the chameleon from my hand. You can see it's right there. It just jumped off. Okay, take two. We're gonna put this right next to the chameleon's mouth. And there we go, that's the perfect spot. Eat it, bro. Eat it. I wanna see this thing eat from my hand so bad. It's literally right in front of you. Hello? You're just gonna watch it? It's crawling all around my hand. You have the perfect opportunity, and you're not doing it. And okay, I think the chameleon's just walking away at this point. I guess he doesn't really want to eat from my hand. I'm sorry, cricket, but I'm just gonna, you're gonna get eaten.
Anyways, I should probably name this rare chameleon, and like I said earlier, this thing has the exact same colors as a Nintendo Switch. So I'm gonna name my chameleon Switch. Yeah, I mean, it's a pretty creative name, I know. Anyways, now I'm gonna show you guys exactly how chameleons change color, and it might actually be pretty surprising to some of you. But quickly, I just want to tell you guys that since the last video, you've increased the amount of people subscribed from 5% to 6%, which is okay improvement, but let's get this to like 50%. So please, if you're enjoying this video at all, just scroll down and click subscribe. Now, anyways, you might have seen me show you guys this video of a chameleon changing colors. And while this viral video is actually very cool to watch, it is completely fake. Yeah, chameleons can't actually control their colors like that, and in reality, they only have the ability to become slightly darker or slightly brighter. This happens because it's super tiny cells in their skin that can get bigger or smaller depending on certain conditions like heat. You see, when I first put Switch in the enclosure, he immediately ran up to the heat lamp and sat under it, which made his color change to be way brighter. Anyway, Switch is very cool, and I've only just scratched the surface of chameleon care. I might even end up doing another video where I breed Switch and another rare female chameleon to get an ultra rare chameleon, so subscribe if you want to see that. But until then, this guy is gonna be an amazing pet. Thank you for watching. Anyways, I just want to quickly update all the subscribers who care about the channel. So I've seen a couple comments of people asking what I do with my pets after the videos, and the answer is with some of them, I'll end up donating them to pet shops or friends to take care of them. Since I make a ton of videos by myself, it's hard to give equal care to every single pet, so that's why I do that. But if you're wondering what a dinosaur actually is, by doing stuff like taking it outside like a dog. Yeah, this video is crazy. But before any of that, I first have to wait for it to be delivered, which is going to take about a week. So in the meantime, let's build this thing its dream home with everything it could possibly want.
And to do that, well, I've got a lot of stuff.
I first put together the glass enclosure to build the dream home inside of. And anyways, now it's time to actually build the dream home, and to do that, there's 5 steps, starting with creating the background. To create the background, I sprayed a ton of foam all along the glass so I could stick a ton of wood to it. You see, I'm basically recreating a forest in here, since that's where frilled dragons live in the wild. And to complete the forest look, I covered it in a ton of dirt and wood chips so it looked nice and natural, you know. As you can see, this tank is already looking very, very beautiful and natural with all that wood and dirt, but it's also looking a bit brown and lifeless too. So let's get to doing some more stuff, starting with the floor. Now I know I was just complaining about everything being brown, but to make the floor we do got to use some brown dirt. So yeah, the cheapest way to get a bunch of quality dirt is to use one of these compressed coconut fiber bricks, which may not seem like a lot of dirt, but if we add a huge tub of water to it, well, now it's a lot of dirt. Finally, I mixed in a bunch of other types of ground stuff, because that's what forest floors got, you know. Alright, this is starting to look almost like a forest, but we're still missing some key things. So let's move on to step 3, plants and decorations. Now first of all, I've got 2 different types of moss, which to start, I'll use carpet moss, which comes conveniently packaged in this box. Now I always thought moss was just like dead grass or something, but it's actually an alive organism that over time is going to grow and overtake the entire terrarium. Pretty cool. And I also spread a different type of moss around to add a little bit more variety in this tank. Now this moss is absolutely fantastical, you know, it really brings the whole thing to life. But I'm gonna need way more plants if I'm gonna make this thing look like the dinosaur's actual habitat, which means I'm gonna go get some actual plants with leaves and flowers on them and stuff like that. Yeah, so of course I got in my car to go to the best plant store in town.
Bruh.
Which if you've seen my channel before, you already know where I'm going, baby.
Place your item in the...
Now, I had some people shaming me for going to Walmart for plants in a previous video, but clearly you guys don't understand the fantastical selection of plants they got. I mean, look at all these.
Thanks, Walmart, for all these good plants.
So I got a couple small plants, and I also got one big one that should make the dinosaur nice and happy. And while I was walking around there, I also saw they had some plant Lego sets, which, you know, I like Lego, so of course I bought some, baby. When I got home, I figured I should just build the Lego set real quick to see how those plants look. So I put that all together, and then I put each of the plants inside of the enclosure and check these out.
Yo, this looks so cool. I'm just kidding, this actually looks pretty stupid. I don't know why I spent $50 on this. Get this trash out of here.
Instead, I of course got out the plants I bought and planted them around the tank. There we go, this thing is starting to come together well now. But in order to complete the decorations, I need to add a huge piece of wood that goes diagonally from the bottom of the tank to the top of the tank, so that the dinosaur will be able to have easy access to the heat lamp that will be at the top. And this is the only wood I have right now. Definitely not enough to get to the top. So in order to get some more wood, I went outside to find some.
Okay, so I basically just need to get some sort of branch that's nice and thick and long, and that's kind of too thin. I need something that's not going to snap under the pressure of the dinosaur, and yeah, that one kind of sucks too. But oh, this one actually looks pretty good. Look at this. My hand kind of wraps around it. That's good thickness.
So I went inside and grabbed the biggest knife from my kitchen, and I got to sawing.
This should only take like 30 minutes.
I'll be done soon.
Eventually, I was able to get this fantastical piece of wood that would work perfectly, so I quickly hosed it down to remove dirt and insects and stuff, and brought it back inside. After breaking it down so it would fit, I put it in place and covered the bottom with some more wood. And boom, the decorations are complete in here. But of course, I'm not just gonna leave the tank like this. We've got to first add some technologies to make this the best enclosure ever, starting with some water technologies. The first water technology I got is this little box, which is actually an automatic humidifier. You see, frilled dragons need the humidity in their enclosure to be pretty high, and basically this, well, you know, it humidifies the enclosure by spraying water everywhere. Nice. The second water technology I got is extremely high tech. It's a water bowl. Yeah, so you know the dinosaur can get a drink of water and stuff. Now, even though I added in this amazing water dish, frilled dragons actually never drink from it. They actually just use it as a bathroom. Yeah. So to allow the dinosaur to actually get a drink of water, I got out this water pump, put it in a container of water, and linked it up with some tubing. Now, when I turn it on, it creates this nice little flow of water, which frilled dragons will actually drink from. Well, now, there's just one more thing to build before I add the frilled dragon in, and that is heat. And basically what that means is I need to recreate the sun in this enclosure. To do that, I got a heavy-duty heat lamp and an expensive top-quality UV bulb that recreates the same UV rays that the sun does. I also got another lamp with a high-intensity heat bulb because frilled dragons like it to be extremely hot in their homes. To test the temperature, I hooked up a thermometer, and as you can see, it reached up to 100 degrees in the basking spot, which is perfect. Finally, I put a bit of aluminum foil on top to keep the heat and humidity inside. Okay, well, the frilled dragon's home is now complete, and well, it's time to add it inside. And the next day, I got a notification on my phone saying the package was ready for pickup, so I drove out to FedEx. All right, so I just got back from FedEx, and I just picked up this box, which is probably the frilled dragon. I mean, it says live animal. Hopefully it didn't give me the wrong package. But anyways, I'm gonna take this thing inside and put it in the cage, and oh, there's some chickens right there. Bruh. I might gotta show these guys to the dinosaur. They're gonna be good friends. But before I do anything like that, let's just start by opening up this box. Oh my gosh, I can kind of see the dinosaur right now, and well, it's definitely a dinosaur. And now that I have the frilled dragon, I'm gonna find out if dinosaurs are actually good pets by doing stuff like feeding it, taking it outside, and even more. But first, let's get this guy in the enclosure. Now, this may not look like a dinosaur just yet, but that's because its thing on its neck only comes out on special occasions. But trust me, I will be showing you exactly what it looks like later in the video. Okay, well, the dinosaur is in its enclosure right now, and honestly, I'm still scared to get within a 5-foot radius of this thing. Like, I have no idea if this is as ferocious as those videos made it out to be, but I guess we're gonna find out. For now, I already know this guy is very hungry and thirsty from spending a day in that shipping container, and as you can see, his water bowl is already messed up because he was like jumping around and pooping in there like I thought he would. So to give him a drink of water, I turned my water pump on a very low setting, which made little drops of water fall above the dinosaur. Immediately, he started to stick out his tongue and take little sips of it, which is actually pretty cool to watch. Then he just started to bask in it like he was taking a shower. Dang, maybe this guy isn't as ferocious as I thought. He actually looks pretty chill right now. Now, to feed the frilled dragon, I asked the guy I bought it from which insect is the dinosaur's favorite, and he said crickets are one of the best. So, I got a bag of some pretty big crickets. Bruh, what are these guys all running around in here for? It's not like you guys gonna escape. They're just jumping around. Are you guys stupid? And literally immediately after I put a bunch of them in, the dinosaur started to go crazy, as you can see, jumping all around the enclosure to get a nice, juicy meal. And to show you just how cool it is when the frilled dragon hunts, I hired a professional nature documentary narrator to tell you what's going on. Look at this.
In this small, recreated prehistoric world, a cricket enjoys a quiet meal of moss. But nearby, the frilled dragon, a creature with roots deep in ancient history, has spotted the movement. Suddenly, the dragon's head snaps towards the cricket. In an instant, it leaps forward, jaws closing around the cricket with precision. the cricket's meal is cut short, now being completely devoured by one of nature's best hunters.
Now, as you can see, that was very cool, and the dinosaur is a very good hunter. So to rank how good of a pet this dinosaur is, I'm gonna rank a bunch of different factors. And because it was super cool watching this guy drink and eat, I'm gonna give Care a 9 out of 10. Yeah, 9 out of 10. That's a pretty good score. Good job, bro.
But another important factor that goes into a pet being good is how friendly it is and whether or not it lets you handle it. Now, dogs are the perfect example of this. You know, they're super fluffy and nice, and they pretty much never bite you. Aww. But frilled dragons, on the other hand, yeah, I mean, based off the videos I've seen, they're not friendly at all.
All right, this is the moment of truth. I'm gonna figure out if this guy's gonna let me hold him. And to make sure I don't get bit, I've got some hand protection, as you can see. I'm just gonna go start by trying to pet him. Okay, there we go. Okay, we're petting him, and it seems like he's chill with that. I'm just gonna be very gentle. Oh! Okay, I got very scared there for a second, but...
So yeah, I was too scared to pick him up with my hand, so I just picked up the log he was sitting on.
There you go. Good boy, good boy. Okay, we're doing it. Okay, so we're just gonna start by putting him on the kitchen table. Let's see. Stay right there. And there we go. Look at him. When he's out of his cage, he's doing good. He's just sitting there. Dang, but he's actually being a good boy. And the craziest thing is you see the frill on his neck. It hasn't even come out yet. So usually they put the frill out on their neck when they're super angry. But this guy, he hasn't even put it out once. He's like super chill with me. So he's just letting me pet him. He's a good boy, bro.
And since the dinosaur was doing so good just chilling inside, I decided I would try and bring him outside to let him explore the world.
And I'm outside with the frilled dragon. Look at this. He's just basking in the sun. This is awesome. It's actually pretty cool. He's like blending in with the log. I'm pretty sure he does that to avoid any birds of prey. Because normally in the wild, they're like scared of birds attacking him. But right now, he's just blending in with the log. He's not even scared at all. And like I said, I was going to show the frilled dragon to the chickens. So I don't want him to get too stressed out, but I'm just gonna kind of let him see the chickens. You see them over there? Yeah, you see the chickens? Aren't they so cool? Oh, they look pretty scared. And oh, okay, they're just running away. Yeah, I think they're scared of him. Okay, I'm just gonna bring him back inside.
That actually went very well, and the dinosaur didn't even get mad at me once. But to be fair, I was too scared to hold him, so because of that, I'm giving friendliness a 7 out of 10. And now for the final thing that determines how good a pet is to see the reaction of my mom. So yeah, I'm gonna show it to my mom. But real quick, I just want to let you know that only 5% of people are actually subscribed. And I know every YouTuber says this, and I said the same thing last video, but it is a real statistic. So please just subscribe if you like this video. Thank you very much.
Mom, can you come in? Have you seen my new pet?
No.
All right, so the lizard is in this giant enclosure right here. Do you see it?
Yeah.
So yeah, it's basically right there. And, or do you know what kind of lizard it is though?
It looks like a little dinosaur.
A dinosaur, what? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I got it. It looks like a dinosaur. And guess how much it costs?
I don't know.
It cost $800.
No, it did not.
It cost $800.
That's not even funny.
Well, it did. But this
That's
is the new.
crazy,
This is the new addition to the family. All right.
What's his name?
Doesn't have a name.
No, Mr.
Alright.
Prehistoric.
You wanna name him Mr. Prehistoric?
Prehistoric.
That's a stupid name. So what do you rate it out of 10?
You're pretty cool, Prehistoric. 10.
10 out of 10?
10 out of 10.
Okay, bye.
Thanks. So she actually ended up liking it and gave it a 10 out of 10. That means the average score for the pet dinosaur is 8.7 out of 10. So that means this is actually a very, very good pet. I recommend it to anybody that can afford it, which is nobody, because who's gonna spend $800 on a lizard? Anyways, I know I said that the dinosaur would be showing his neck frill a lot in this video, which he hasn't yet. So to try and make him do it, I got a scary picture on my phone and showed it to him. And he didn't really care. So I tried getting another picture of a bird predator this time, which yeah, he didn't care about that either. So sorry guys, I lied. Mr. Prehistoric is not going to show his frill in this video, but that is a good thing anyways, because it means he likes me and he isn't stressed at all. So thank you everybody for watching. Today we figured out that dinosaurs are actually very good pets, which is pretty cool. Yeah, make sure you subscribe, click the video on the screen, and yeah, bye.
Who's a good boy? Who's a good boy? You're a good boy, bro.
I went out and got 5 levels of insect stings that get progressively more painful. And I got my friend named Sai to take on this sting challenge.
I'm here to get stung by a couple insects, yeah?
Yep, that's right. And if you look at this paper, it's actually gonna start with only $100 if you take on the first sting, but by the end, you'll be able to win $10,000 if you take on the last sting.
$10,000 is no small amount of money.
Yeah, it's a lot of money.
Yeah. What's the $100 though?
$100, why don't you go and peel that off? You can figure out what it is.
Ants?
Yep, for $100, you're gonna have to put your hand on an ant nest for 30 seconds, meaning you might get stung multiple times. Are you still down to do this?
Still down.
Oh, you're still down. Let's go. Come on, follow me.
So I took him down a trail by my house till we found a harvester ant nest. Despite these guys being pretty small, they actually have pretty painful stings. But yeah, it's pretty much nothing compared to the stings later in this video.
For $100, put your hand on the ant nest in 3, 2, 1.
Now, Sai has to keep his hand here for 45 seconds to win. But unfortunately, it wasn't looking good for him because immediately workers started to swarm onto his hand.
It's super tickly. I haven't gotten bitten yet.
No stings or anything?
Not yet.
You're straight up on their nest and they're not even defending it. These ants suck.
But oh boy, did things quickly start escalating, because out of nowhere, like 15 more ants started swarming onto his hand to investigate what it was. Still not stinging it though.
Do you feel anything?
It's just super tickly. I don't know if I haven't felt anything sharp just yet.
And I was thinking he wasn't gonna get stung at all as the timer started to run out. 3, 2, 1, and...
Oh my God, ow. Oh.
Yeah, so apparently Sai literally got stung at the very last second, but by just one ant, thankfully.
Oh, that's sharp. That feels really sharp. It's like a tiny little needle. That feels really sharp.
But the thing is, that was only sting number 1. This video still has a way crazier stings coming up, ending with the cow killer.
You can either take the $100 right now, or you can say yes to the $500 challenge. What are you thinking?
You know what? Let's do it. $500.
All right, follow me.
Alrighty.
Now, I quickly brought Sai to the place where the second insect sting was going to take place.
Welcome, Sai. You said you wanted to take on the $500 sting challenge, is that right?
Yep.
All right, then, why don't you go and just peel that off?
And so he peeled the sticky note off.
A wasp?
Yup, it's a wasp.
Oh man. I remember being super young and getting stung by one of these. I cried for 3 hours.
Oh, and this is only the $500 sting. The 10,000 sting is a lot worse. But don't worry, you can walk away at any time if you want.
No, this is only level 2. I'm gonna keep going.
Oh, okay. I like that.
So I got out the container that had a wasp inside. This is a yellow jacket, and they're known for their insanely sharp sting. So this should be pretty interesting.
All right, Sai, let's waste no time. You got the wasp there. He looks pretty angry. For $500, get your arm out and put that cup on your arm.
Alrighty.
Yup, so we went and put the cup on his arm at the place where he was gonna get stung.
All right, Sai, I'm gonna start pulling it out. Oh, wow, this thing is
it's
getting
mad.
mad. All right, I'm just gonna pull the paper towel out and let's see if it stings. It's really mad, Sai.
It's getting mad.
Pause. By the way, I gotta mention this, but do not try this at home, obviously. As a YouTuber, I've taken tons of safety precautions behind the scenes to make sure this is a safe test. And similar to why Coyote Peterson gets stung by all those crazy bugs, our goal today is to figure out which bug actually has the craziest sting and make an entertaining video. Anyways, let's get back to the wasp. Yep, this dude was furious trying to escape, but wasn't immediately stinging, surprisingly. I think because the wasp didn't even know that there was an arm under him. He might have just thought that this was floor under him.
Let me tap the side of the glass. Maybe we can get him mad. Sting him. $500, Mr. Wasp.
It's literally on my skin, bro. Just stick it in already.
And thankfully, Sai's wish came true immediately after he said that, because this happened.
Okay.
Wait, you actually just got stung, Sai?
Yep. It definitely hurts more than I remember.
How much is it hurting, like out of 10, you would say?
A 6 or 7 out of 10.
6 or 7? Come on, bruh.
And yeah, if he's already saying these are about a 6 out of 10 on the pain level, then I can't even imagine what he's gonna say the cow killer sting at the end is. Should be fun.
So, you've officially won $500, but the big question is, are you gonna want to take on the $1,000 challenge?
You know, the wasp wasn't the worst thing in the world. Definitely worse than the ants, but I think for $1,000, whatever's next is worth it.
Really? For $1,000?
I'm gonna do it for $1,000.
Bro, this could be like super painful. You're just gonna do it?
I'm just gonna do it.
All right, here's the $1,000. We'll put that there.
So, I peeled off the sticky note to reveal the animal.
Oh, it's a crab.
Yeah, it's a crab.
It's kind of cute though.
Yeah.
It won't be that bad.
Oh, okay.
Now, Sai is right. Usually crab pinches are not as painful as insect stings. But the reason I'm having Sai get pinched instead of stung for this round is actually to prepare him for the $2,500 round, where he's gonna be getting stung by something that not only has a stinger, but it also has pinchers. Anyways, I opened up the box that the crab was inside of so I could show Sai what he was about to be getting pinched by in this round. And here it is, a rainbow land crab.
All right, so we got the crab out the container, as you can see, and what are you thinking of it? First impressions?
It's very colorful, and the claw on the left there is kind of big, but
Yep, crabs actually have one big claw to use for extra crushing power, so hopefully Sai gets pinched by that. But actually, something I noticed about this crab was that it was actually injured. You see, normally crabs are supposed to have 4 legs on both sides of their bodies, but this dude only has 2 legs on this side of his body. I'm not sure how he lost 2 of his legs, but because of this, I wanted to make sure I built this guy a nice little enclosure. That way he'd have a place to rest after the pinch test. But yeah, don't worry, this didn't take long because we just immediately started to spam place a bunch of rocks all along the side of the enclosure. Now, this may look kind of like trash, but I'm actually trying to recreate a rocky coastal environment that these crabs are used to in the wild.
All right, could you help me outside? Could you pour the water in?
yeah, I got you.
Let's get this crab a nice home. Oh, yeah, yep, get that water in.
Yeah.
Yep, you're pretty good at
He's
this.
swimming forever.
After we got the water in, I started to scatter around some of these random decorations, and obviously I planted some plants in the water, cause it wouldn't be a Terra Green enclosure without some. Finally, I put some final technology in, like a filter and a water heater, so we could have this build finished. Anyways, yeah, we quickly introduced this crab into the enclosure, and it seemed like he liked it. And he immediately found some nice little places to hide at. But obviously, Sai has a $1,000 to win. Let's do this test.
All right, Sai, for $1,000, you can go ahead and take the crab out of the container and yeah, you just get pinched. Do it however you want, just take it out.
Let's see how it goes.
All right, you're just gonna let it crawl out. Let's see this.
So yeah, immediately the crab ran straight up to Sai's finger, and it looked like he meant business. But Sai actually thought the best way to do this test would be to pick up the crab. So yeah, that's what he did.
All right, so you got a hold of it. That's a pretty smart move, but all right, his pinchers are ready.
All right, let's do it.
Go ahead.
So Sai started to put his finger up to the claw of the crab, and the crab started to give the most vicious, brutal pinch of all time, as you can see. I'm just kidding. It was barely pinching.
What are you feeling?
Not much. I mean, he's kind of just sleeping, it seems like.
Bro, what is this crab doing?
No,
You're holding
yeah.
him in his hand, like, and he's just grabbing
we're
on.
best friends. We're holding hands. I mean, this guy's my friend. Can I keep him?
Yeah, actually, it was kind of funny how friendly this crab was. I mean, it genuinely just looks like the crab is hugging Sai's arm here. It's actually kind of cute.
All right, Sai, would you say that was easy or hard?
I think that was the easiest thing I've ever done.
Well, I didn't tell you about the second part of the challenge where you gotta let that crab actually pinch your cheek on your face.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that shouldn't be too hard.
Yeah, he really thought the crab was so weak that he was genuinely smiling and happy to do this.
It's licking me.
It's licking you.
I feel like it is. Kind of wet.
Yeah, it is a crab.
That's a fair point.
But yeah, if you couldn't already assume, the crab also didn't really do any real damage here. He just kind of gave it the slightest little pinch ever.
Well, Sai, that might have been the freest $1,000 of your entire life.
Possibly.
But remember, the only reason I wanted Sai to get pinched by a crab is to prepare him for our next animal.
All right, Sai, we're so close to the final animal sting for $10,000. But first, we still got to do the $2,500 sting, and I got the money right here. Do you want to say yes to that sting?
Based off how easy the last one was, I think we do it. It can't be that hard compared to the crab.
Oh, you want to do it? Let's peel this off.
So I took the sticky note off to reveal the next sting, a giant desert hairy scorpion.
So, Sai, you got to get stung by America's largest scorpion species.
Okay, that's probably gonna be a lot worse than the crab.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yeah. You know what? For $2,500, I think we can tank it.
Let's do it.
But you could tell Sai was starting to get a lot more skeptical. And this time, he wanted to spend a bit of time to research online to figure out if it was actually safe to get stung by a desert hairy scorpion. Now, these guys got pretty painful venom, but of course, everything I've chosen in this video is completely safe for Sai to get stung by. It's just a bit painful, of course.
So, Sai, what do you think? Is this something you're down to get stung by after researching on Google?
Yeah, I mean, based off what Google said, seems pretty safe, but it's definitely gonna hurt.
Yeah, it's definitely gonna hurt, but for $2,500, I mean, what do you expect? Let's do this. Yeah, can you get your finger out? Yep, and can you get it inside?
So yeah, at first Sai wasn't really sure of how to get stung, so he kind of just started to tap the scorpion's claws and stuff to see if he could get it mad. But you see, scorpions are actually nocturnal, so I knew it was pretty unlikely that this dude was just gonna randomly sting Sai, since we were recording during the day. And after like a minute or two of Sai very fearfully putting his finger around and even on the scorpion, my theory was proved right, because the scorpion was actually being very chill and not even stinging him once. You see, when people like Coyote Peterson did their scorpion sting tests, they actually grabbed the stinger of the scorpion with tweezers. So I figured I should do the same thing here to ensure this test went very smoothly.
All right, Sai, 3, 2, 1. Ow. Oh, did it sting you?
Yep.
Oh shoot, what does it feel like?
Oh, it's not that bad, but it's sharp. It's sharp.
Nah, you just got stung by a scorpion and you're saying it's not that bad.
I felt it go into my skin.
Shoot, that must have been painful.
Yep, apparently the pain immediately wasn't so bad. But he did tell me as the minutes went on, he could feel the venom sort of spreading around the area where he got stung. But even the scorpion sting is nothing compared to the final insect sting.
Sai, I have to admit, you've done a great job so far, but if you want to win the $10,000 prize, I mean, you still have to take on the most painful sting, and what do you think is under that sticky note, like genuinely?
I have no clue. I mean, it could really be anything, but I'm hoping it's something friendly.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just gonna tell you, it's absolutely not something friendly.
That's a lot of money. I think I'll do it.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Yep.
Why don't you just peel that sticky note off? For $10,000, you gotta get stung by a cow killer.
You're joking.
No.
Are you serious?
Yes, you saw the videos of Coyote Peterson getting stung by that, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Now, Sai actually wanted to rewatch that classic Coyote Peterson cow killer sting to see how bad this was actually gonna be.
Oh my gosh, that thing's huge. Oh.
Nah, that's about to happen to you, Sai. Shoot.
Oh no, it's even worse when you're watching it and you're knowing it's gonna happen to you.
Yeah, Sai is gonna have a great time.
Now, Sai, we're not gonna waste any time. The cow killer's in this bag. Do you wanna take it out for me?
I'm gonna get stung though.
No, just take it out.
Okay.
So, Sai opened up the bag to reveal not actually the cow killer, but the brand new Terra Green plushies. We got this jumbo snake plushie with the channel logo all over it, and a cute little axolotl too.
And also, Sai, each plushie comes with a custom trading card. You wanna give this one an open?
Oh yes, it's like Pokemon when I was a kid.
Yep.
Let's see what it is.
Oh, there you go.
Oh, sweet.
Yep. Yeah, it just comes with every order for free. It's pretty cool.
Oh, wow. Nice.
TerraGreen.store.com.
Hey, that's pretty sweet.
Yep.
Yep, thank you guys so much for supporting the channel. Anyways, I actually wasn't lying. The cow killer is actually inside of this bag, so Sai pulled it out so we could get our first look at it.
Sai, what do you think of this thing?
It's so small for being something so painful.
Yeah, and they say this thing's sting is so strong that it's able to kill cows.
Is that real?
Well, no, these things have actually never actually harmed someone. They're just extremely painful, so there's nothing for you to
that's
worry
good.
about.
That's good then.
Yeah.
So I went and picked this thing up with some tweezers, and mine is a bit small, so it's hard to see, but if you look very closely, you can actually see the stinger here retracting in and out. Cow killers have the longest stingers in the world, so they can inject their venom super deep into the victim.
All right, Sai, we're just gonna jump straight into this. I got it here, I'm not gonna lie. I'm just gonna put this on your arm right now.
Okay, I'm really scared. This is gonna hurt. This is gonna really hurt. All right, $10,000. That's a lot of Terra Green plushies. Oh, ow!
Oh, did it sting you?
Oh, yep, that's like deep.
Oh, it stung you.
Yup, it literally happened so fast, I didn't even realize he got stung. But based off of his reaction, he definitely did. Yeah, he was feeling it.
It burns. It feels like it's down there in the middle of my arm.
That thing just injected its stinger down deep into your arm and put that venom up in there.
Does my skin it looks red?
Yeah, that thing, it's just gonna get a big red spot there over time.
Oh my gosh.
Yep, this pain can sometimes last for up to days, but to make sure Sai didn't have to endure that, I put some of this special stuff on his arm that should help get rid of the sting as much as possible.
Sai, I have good news. You are now the proud owner of $10,000.
I'm gonna buy 2 of these things. Let's just get this checked out.
So in this video, I'm gonna build a home for them, show off everything about keeping a pet leech, and literally let them suck on my arm. Yes, I am not kidding. I'm gonna let them do that, and I might get some unknown deadly virus. This is easily gonna be my weirdest pet. Anyways, until the leeches got delivered, I got out a 20-gallon aquarium and a ton of rocks to get its enclosure built. Step 1 to make its home is to make a rock arch. To do that, I got out some water-safe spray foam and sprayed the entire left side of the enclosure, and then I covered it with some lava rocks. You see, leeches spend most of their time in the water, but they actually have the ability to crawl on land like a worm. And basically, by connecting all these rocks with foam, I was able to build an arch here that I could cover with dirt to make the land portion of this enclosure. On the land, I put some very simple decorations like a piece of wood, some carpet moss, and a small plant to complete it.
All right, the land area is looking pretty nice and small and cozy, and it's gonna be so cool to see the leeches swim onto the land so they can eat food and stuff. Oh, and also if you're wondering where I got this beautiful plant, it's of course from Walmart. Gotta keep the channel's tradition going, you know.
Anyway, step 2 of this enclosure is to create the water portion. Now I started by getting out some of this black aqua soil stuff and putting a layer of it down because it'll allow us to grow some beautiful luscious plants in here. But first I covered the soil with a layer of sand and started to scatter giant river rocks along the bottom. I figured it'd be cool to make this place look like the bottom of a river since that's where leeches live in the wild. To finish the river look in here, I put some smaller river rocks around, and then I put some extra small tiny river rocks around, and then I put some extra tiny small river rocks around, which aren't really rocks anymore, they're just kind of like gravel, but yeah. Anyways, now it's time for the aquatic plants. I use my artistic skills to find the most optimal locations to plant each plant, and by that I mean I just put them around randomly, but after putting them all in, it actually looked pretty cool.
All right, dang, this is actually gonna look pretty good once I add water in here. And also it turned out really good how that rock arch makes like a little cave there. That's gonna be really cool. I guess the leeches are gonna be able to swim there or something.
Anyways, leeches are freshwater creatures, so I just filled the enclosure up with some normal water, you know, pretty simple stuff, and in no time it was done.
All right, I'm liking the look of this a lot, but if you look at the dirt, it's absorbed the water and it's super moist and it kind of looks like mud right now. Now, because the humidity's so high right here, mold can actually grow, which is of course not good for the leeches. But don't worry because I have the perfect solution right here.
Inside of this container, I had some little insect creatures delivered to me for step number 3, the mold cleanup crew. These are springtails, which you may have seen before, but I have a cool idea for them this time. They're basically just super tiny white insects that I guess eat mold when it grows in here. And yeah, there's tons of these things in here, so I just dumped the whole container on the land.
All right, I think it'd be really cool to get a time lapse of these little guys eating. And since there's no mold in here right now, apparently their second favorite food is yeast, which is like a fungus or something. I don't really know. You use it to bake bread. But basically, I'm just gonna sprinkle a little bit right here, and we'll see what they do. I don't even know if this is gonna work.
So I waited for the springtails to absolutely devour the yeast up, and they were all kind of gathering up around it, looking like they were probably eating it. And as you can see, this part of the yeast kind of changed. I don't know if that's just because it soaked up the water from the dirt or what. I guess I only record the springtails for like 30 minutes, so it's not a very eventful time lapse, but this is what it looked like at the end. Now for step number 4 of completing this enclosure, we gotta put some technology in here like always to make it super good. Now first of all, I got out this machine, which you may have seen in some of my previous videos. Basically, when I turn this little dial, out of the end of the tube, a bunch of fog comes out. So I set that up on the side of the glass and let it run for a minute.
Dang, check this out. It completely transforms it from being kind of boring to like super spooky. And honestly, it's a little bit too much fog. Let me get some of this out of here. Okay, that's better. But you know, it's cool. Adds to the atmosphere. Leeches are pretty spooky. And you know, I'm going to be letting it stuck on my arm. It's not going to be fun.
Anyways, for the second technology, well, this one's a little useless, but it's cool.
Okay, so I was walking around Target earlier and saw these little robot turtle toys on sale for about like $8. And I think it'll just be funny to put these in the water with the leech, you know, once we add them in. But let's just test them out real quick to see what they look like. Okay, I got it. And I think you just like press these buttons and oh, okay, its arms are moving. I guess let me just put it in the water. Let's see what this thing can do. And, oh, it's moving. And it's just swimming into the glass. Okay, I guess it's kind of cool. Okay, it's not that cool to be honest. Well, let me put it on land. Let's see if it can walk on land. And, yeah, okay, can't walk on land.
Well, this enclosure is now 100% complete and ready for probably the weirdest pet I have ever got to be put inside, the leeches. So I guess just cut to when I get that package.
Alright, supposedly in this box are the leeches. I just got them shipped. I still can't believe we're going to be keeping these as pets, and I'm literally going to be letting it suck on my arm. This is not going to be fun at all, but it's going to be pretty entertaining. But hey, let's just go get these guys in their enclosure. We don't want them in their shipping box anymore. Let's go.
So I brought the box inside and opened it up.
Oh, nah, bro. The leeches are inside this little foam box. I do not even want to open this up.
Inside the box was a little plastic container with water and the leeches, which I moved into this bigger container of water. And well, here they are, my new pet. Aren't they so cute?
Oh, are you seeing this? This is so disgusting. This guy's just climbing up the side of the enclosure. They're already trying to escape.
But despite how nasty they were, I had to transport them to their new home, so I tried to scoop them out.
Okay, I got one of them up against the wall in this little container, and I'm just gonna try and scoop it up. Oh, there we go. Oh, shoot, it's not going good. Oh, no, is this
thing trying to escape right now. No, this is not the time. Can you please go back in the container? Oh my gosh, it's just on my table.
But eventually I got it back in and I was able to put both the leeches into their new home. And right after dropping them in, it didn't take long for the leeches to start swimming around and be super active. Basically how leeches work is they mostly get around by swimming around just like this, like how a sea snake would. But on one end of their body, they actually have a little suction cup so that they can grab onto walls and rocks so they can stay still. And of course on the other end of their body is the mouth that they use to of course grab onto animals with.
Okay, as you guys know, these leeches get most of their food by sucking the blood out of other animals. But before I feed them my own blood, I kind of want to fill them up just at least a little bit by feeding them some other type of food. And apparently Google says one of the best things to feed them is raw liver from the grocery store. And I don't really have any of that, so I guess let me just go get it.
So I drove over to Walmart and found some of that raw beef liver that supposedly the leeches will eat.
Dang, check this stuff out. It's only $2.44 per packet of it. That is why we shop at Walmart, everybody. And it does look pretty nasty, but I'm pretty sure the leeches are gonna eat this. I don't know, let's just go home and figure out.
So when I got home, I opened the packet up and got a little raw piece of liver out.
All right, well, we got the beef liver right here. It's kind of nasty, I'm not gonna lie. Slimy and everything. And hey, the leeches are out and about right now, so I think I'm just gonna drop it in right there. Hopefully it doesn't make the water dirty or anything.
I let the meat sit there for about 15 minutes, but the leeches didn't end up finding it. So instead, I just picked it up and brought it right over to one of them. Immediately, that first one picked up the scent or something and latched onto it. So while that leech rode the piece of meat, I brought it over to the second one, and that guy immediately latched onto it too. And yeah, I just let them go crazy on it, eating it up for a little bit.
Oh my gosh, these leeches are absolutely devouring this piece of meat. I gotta make sure they don't get filled up on this meat, because I still gotta eat meat. Can you guys come off, please? Oh my gosh, if they're this hard stuck on the meat, what are they gonna do when they're on my arm? I don't know, bro. This is not gonna be fun though. Alright, it's the next day and the leeches are still doing good. And anyways, this is the moment we've all been waiting for. Well, I haven't been waiting for it, but I'm gonna let the leeches go on my arm now. So let me wait for my mom to get home so she can record that, and also I wanna see how she reacts to this new pet leech. Okay, Mom, you could come in now. Alright, hi.
Hi.
I'm just bringing you in here because I want to show you my new pet. Alright, so basically just look at its cage and I want you to guess what's in there.
Oh my god.
Do you see anything in there?
Yeah, it's in the jar.
Yeah, right there.
Disgusting.
In the
dude.
jar. I had to put it in a jar just because.
Is it a centipede?
A centipede is underwater.
No.
That's a leech.
No, dude.
A pet
Dude,
leech.
no.
Isn't a pet leech cool?
No. Is it the sucking of the blood leech?
Basic, yeah, sucks your blood. But you know, we gotta feed it.
Oh, right. I see where you're gonna go with this not happening.
Yeah, don't worry. We're definitely not gonna be feeding it anyone's blood. But I want to show you this thing you see on top. You can put fog inside.
That's neat.
But I don't only have fog. We also got some turtles.
Some little turtles.
Yeah, they just kind of move around. They're kind of cool.
Why is it in a jar like that, though?
Oh, you're wondering why it's in a jar? So basically, it's in a jar because I need to do something with it, and I need you to record me do something with it.
Oh my gosh, okay.
So basically what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna pick the leech up and I'm just gonna take all the water out, and then I'm just gonna put this upside down right here. And basically I need you to take my phone and record me sucking the blood out of my arm.
No, you're not gonna do that.
Yes, I have to do it.
No, we're not, dude. Why do you have to do that?
Because I said I would do it at the start of the video.
Oh, right.
I'm just gonna take the jar and put it here.
Oh my gosh,
so it does
no.
something.
Why are we doing this?
Don't worry.
No, dude.
So this might take like a couple minutes. I don't
For
know.
it to even get out of there?
Yeah, you see how the suction cup is on the jar?
Yeah. Here, maybe I can like it.
Okay, it could happen right now. It could happen right now.
No! No!
Okay, it's biting me.
Joe, why are we doing this again?
Go back a little bit.
Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh.
Okay, it's biting me right now and it's sucking my blood. I feel the blood coming out of my arm.
Oh my god,
Okay.
no. Ew.
It feels so weird.
Does it?
So basically, it's injecting like a chemical in my blood right now to make it run faster so it can suck more blood out. Oh!
Oh my god, are you serious? Is this, can it really harm you? Does
No,
this do
hopefully
anything
not.
to you?
So I don't know how to get this off actually.
No, I'm flicking it off.
No, so you can't flick it off. Okay, so the teeth are like going harder into my body. So some people feed these for like 3 hours at a time, but yeah, I'm not doing all that.
Oh my gosh, they actually let them feed your blood for 3 hours.
Yeah, you just kind of want to like trick its teeth into like scaring it, you know, so it will unbite it. All right, and just like that. Get off, get off, get off, get off.
Oh my god, get up.
Ah, it bit me again. There we go, just like that, it's all fine and dandy. So that's my new pet.
What? No, dude, let's just throw it in the toilet.
Okay, we're not gonna do that. Don't worry, because we got princess band-aids right here to heal the wound.
Gosh.
And we got some cream or something I guess you gotta put on it.
Neosporin, yeah.
Okay, so first we just gotta get the cream, put some on there like that. Maybe that's a little too much. And then we have our princess band-aid, so we just take that out. Oh, I don't know who that is, but it's a very pretty princess. And boom, just like that, we just fed our pet leech.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, there, you wanna try?
Nope,
Your turn.
absolutely not. No, or just throw it in the toilet.
Well, I just let a leech suck the blood out of my arm, so please subscribe, especially if you enjoyed the video. I've seen videos of ants doing insane things to survive, like in this one where they built a boat out of their bodies to survive a flood, or in this one where they built a dangling bridge out of their bodies to attack a wasp nest. So I was wondering, if I put my 1,000 ants into obstacle courses, will they do similar things to complete them, or are my ants just not that smart? Well, I just spent hours gathering 1,000 ants out my old ant nest, so I feel like this is the perfect opportunity to put these guys up against their first ant obstacle. Obstacle number 1 is this thing. Basically, what we do is put some massive dead insect food at the bottom, and then we fill it with a bunch of sand to turn it into one of those 2D ant nests. Basically, we'll be able to watch the ants dig out all sorts of tunnel systems in here, and if they actually find the insect food I hit at the bottom, then they'll pass the obstacle and move on to the next obstacles that get harder and harder as the video goes on. Alright, let's not waste any time, and well, let's just do this. Wow, that is very satisfying watching 1,000 ants fall in here. Okay. Now, of course, immediately, the ants all just started to try and climb the walls of the top area to try and escape. But surprisingly, many of the ants were already starting to dig down that center 2D part of the nest. Oh my gosh, this is happening so fast. Wait, is there already progress on the side of the tank? Oh, I just put these guys in literally like 45 seconds ago, and they've already dug like half an inch down in. What? Yep, and if you check out this time-lapse footage, you can see just how quickly they were getting work done. They literally work like mini drills to dig these tiny tunnels through the sand. But in reality, it's a tiring and grueling process where each individual grain of sand has to be picked up from a worker underground, brought all the way up to the surface through this little hole, and then dropped off at this pile of sand over here. Now, while I was recording this, it was actually getting pretty late in the day, so I decided to turn off the lights and came back the next day to see the progress made. And guys, the next day I came back to the ant nest looking like this. Yeah. Bro, what? It's been literally like 8 hours. How did these ants build an entire intricate nest? And not only were all these intricate tunnel systems made, but remember those dead insects I placed at the bottom as food? Well, it's safe to say that ants found those too, and it looks like the whole colony had swarmed them and had already started to devour them. And since they got to the insects, that technically means they passed this first obstacle. Congratulations, guys. It happened so fast, I literally didn't even capture that on camera. Oh, but this next obstacle the ants are going up against will definitely be caught on camera, because the next obstacle is the tightrope of doom. Yes, you heard that right. And if you're wondering what that is, well, it's this thing. Yup, the ants will have to walk across this extremely narrow tightrope over a pit filled with fire and flames. Oh, I gotta put that out. Oh, yep, put that out. Are you gonna go out? No, I'm just kidding. That would be crazy. These are literally my pets. I would never do that. But I will be trapping the ants down here if they fall by lining the walls of this pit with this super slippery liquid stuff called fluon. I know you can't really see this stuff since it's invisible, but basically when an ant tries to walk up on here now, it'll just slip off completely. Yeah, this stuff is super slippery. And you guys are about to see why this challenge gets so interesting in a second. But if you look over at the 2D ant nest, you'll actually see I have a little hole here plugged up with some paper towels. And if you also look here, I got some tubing, meaning I can connect this to the obstacle. So yeah, let's just get this obstacle started. Come on, ants, let's get in here. Immediately after plugging in the tubing, obviously ants noticed and started walking in. I mean, there's 1,000 ants. You can't even get away from them for a second. But that's what makes these obstacles fun, because it only took like 10 seconds till our first ant entered the tightrope of doom tank. Now, to pass this obstacle, the ants quite literally just need to get one of these pieces of insect legs back across across the tightrope, which I think might be impossible, but let's see how they do. Now, I'm not gonna lie, the ants started off with some pretty lackluster performance because our first ants that made it to this tightrope didn't actually walk onto it. They kind of just walked around it on the corner of this platform where they just ended up just slipping off. Yeah, come on, guys. What are you doing? But we got 1,000 ants, so I was expecting at least one of these ants to eventually step onto this tightrope. But as tons more ants started to walk into this room, yeah, they kind of all just did the same exact thing. And the pit started to get absolutely filled up with tons of ants. Come on, ants, what are you doing? No, I'm just kidding. I think this is actually my fault, and to make them walk across the tightrope, I just gotta fix something. Let me show you how to fix it. Basically, what I did was, first of all, tape 2 extra pieces of string to the tightrope to make it a bit thicker so the ants would feel safer when they walked on it. And also, I rubbed this insect jelly food on the tightrope to make the bridge smell like jelly. And yeah, hopefully this will make them want to walk on it. Now, this worked exactly how I wanted it to, because within the first minute, our first workers actually started to walk onto the tightrope and explored it, just very slowly. But over time, more and more ants started to walk onto it, and it was actually kind of funny because sometimes the ants would literally just be hanging from each other's legs because there would just be way too many on the tightrope at the same time. Dang, these ants aren't very good at saving their friends. But it didn't take long for our first brave ant to actually make it to the end of this tightrope. That wasn't even half of the challenge, because now, if you remember, the ants actually got to pick up one of these insect legs and bring them back across the tightrope. And this ant clearly wasn't looking too interested in that, because yeah, he was just completely ignoring them. So I kept waiting until some more ants made it to the side by crossing the tightrope. And surprisingly, one of the ants that made it actually did seem interested in the legs, because he went up to one of them and actually started to bite it. But if you couldn't tell, this leg is kind of way too big for this worker to carry it all by himself, and for some reason, even after tons of ants made it onto this side, none of them came to help this poor worker move the leg. But this worker had a mission. He knew he needed to take a leg back to the colony, so what he did was he went up to one of the smaller insect legs that he could actually carry by himself, and he actually picked it up and started to walk. Yep, yeah, it wasn't super efficient or anything, but theoretically, he could pass this obstacle for the entire colony if he played his cards right. And played his cards right, he did, because I'm not joking, he walked straight over to the tightrope, and he might have had an extremely close call where he almost fell off, but somehow he managed to save himself. And then the ant actually started to walk across the tightrope with an insect leg in his mouth. Oh my gosh, guys, this is genuinely so insane. I am rooting for you, bro. I mean, you got a long way to go, but guys, the ants were doing so awful up to this point. You could see how many fell into the pit of doom. Bro, this dude, he's just an absolute killer. Yup, literally none of the 1,000 ants decided to help this dude. He was doing this entirely solo. And so he kept on marching, completely ignoring any ants that were in his way. And this dude made it all the way to the end of the tightrope, where he then walked onto the platform to complete the obstacle. Oh my gosh, this ant is insane. Seriously, I gotta name this guy. I think I'm gonna name him Anthony. And we're probably never gonna be able to find Anthony again since all the ants look the same. But seriously, everyone spam some W's in the comments for Anthony. That was so insane. And since these guys beat the obstacle, I'm gonna give them the insect's legs as a prize. Thanks, Anthony. Hopefully you guys enjoy. So I quickly moved all the fallen soldiers back to the 2D ant nest. And well, this colony is now ready for its third obstacle. And oh boy, am I excited for this one. Because guys, these ants are gonna have to break into a vault. Yeah, like a robbery, basically. Yep, you heard that right, a vault. For this obstacle, I literally built up a DIY bank vault from scratch out of paper that I knew the ants would probably be able to break into. You can see it's pretty good. Sort of looks like a real vault. And anyways, it's cool because the door actually opens, so I could fill this bank vault with an absolutely insane amount of seeds. Yeah, I put so many seeds in here. Because yeah, apparently seeds are this species of ants' favorite food, so they should absolutely swarm this thing. But I got this hot glue gun so I could seal this vault door shut, because I got to make this actually a kind of hard obstacle. So let me just go and put some glue on here. Oh yeah, just like that. All right, the vault is completely sealed shut with glue now, so let's see if these ants can actually get the seeds out of it. This is going to be very interesting to watch. So yeah, I just put it in, and as you can imagine, the 1,000 ant colony immediately started to climb onto it. Especially when things are put into colonies' nests, they need to investigate it to make sure it's not a threat. And with this, I think they pretty much immediately knew it wasn't a threat, because none of them were biting it or anything. And actually, a lot of them were just using it as an opportunity opportunity to climb out of the enclosure. That's not good. But yeah, the vault right now is pretty sealed shut, and I don't even think the ants knew that there were seeds inside of here. So nothing really eventful happened, to be honest.
Okay, this is not exactly going to plan. I'm just gonna take this box and put it in there. Oh, hopefully I didn't crush any ants. Okay, and then let me scoop up all the ants that fell off.
So yeah, I got all those fallen soldiers back into the nest, of course.
Well, that didn't exactly work so well, but I kind of knew it wasn't gonna work so well, so that's why I came equipped with this stuff. See, basically, it's a cup of water and a big cup of sugar, which I'm gonna pour into the water. Then basically, I can mix the water and sugar around to make sugar water, which ants love the smell and taste of. And using this paintbrush, I actually just want to go and paint our vault with it. And basically, this will make the vault not only taste like sugar, but it will also just make it kind of soggy since it's made out of paper, and it should make it able so the ants can chew through it and stuff and get to the seeds.
So yeah, I absolutely just soaked this vault in the sugar water, and without wasting any time, I got this thing in the nest. All right, ants, let's see how you do this time. And oh boy, were things a lot more interesting this time around, because right away, tons more ants were way more interested. You can see how after the ants would walk onto the vault, they would just completely stand still. That's because they were putting their mouth up to the paper and were just completely licking all the sugar off the paper. Yeah, this is not really what I had in mind. I thought this was gonna make them wanna completely chew through the paper, not lick it, but yeah. So many ants got their fair share of the sugar. However, I didn't see a single ant even trying to find or even acknowledge that there were seeds inside of here. Well, that was until this moment. When you see this hole here, well, just out of nowhere, an ant just came up to it and walked into the hole, and yeah, there was just an ant inside of this vault with the absolute jackpot of seeds. I don't know how this hole got here. I guess maybe the sogginess from the sugar water made it droop or something, but wow. That is crazy.
Oh my gosh, wait, I think the ants just completed the obstacle. Let me get all the excess ants off this safe real quick.
And yeah, once the extra ants had fallen off, I cut open the vault to see if that ant had actually made it inside. And as you can see, he absolutely had made it inside. Oh my gosh, bro, your colony has no clue how much you just clutched up for them.
Wait, imagine if this is Anthony, that same ant that beat the obstacle course. That would be insane, but I mean, I don't know if this is the same ant. But anyways, W ant.
So yeah, I just went and poured the entire vault's loot pile onto the 2D ant nest, and well, the ants have been rewarded with the absolute motherload of food up to this point. But I've been saving the craziest obstacle for last to really find out how smart my ant colony actually is. And this final one is the floor is lava.
Yup, the floor is lava, and thankfully I already have it built right here.
This is the final obstacle, and you may be wondering, bruh, Terra Green, where's the lava? Well, the lava is these strips of red on the floor right here. You see, these are actually extremely sticky pieces of tape, and if the ants try to walk on them, well, they're gonna get stuck, of course. So if the ants want to get to the strawberries that I put at the end of the obstacle, they're gonna have to use one of the 3 tools I provided for them to figure out how they can maybe cross this lava. Or maybe they'll make a crazy bridge out of their bodies to cross it. Who knows?
Anyways, I wanted to make sure most of these guys actually participated, so I spent the past few hours individually picking up each of the ants from the ant nest and transporting them into this container, or at least as many as I can get. The rest are kind of under there. That way, they could be easily transported. But before pouring these...
I just dumped the ants straight in. If you can't tell, I actually changed the design of the obstacle a little bit, because if you remember that red tape, well, I actually replaced it with an even stickier and thicker kind of tape to make sure these ants wouldn't be able to just walk across. Anyways, let's see how they do. As you could probably guess, lots of the ants immediately went up to the tape and partially got stuck in the front. But don't worry, guys, I'll be watching the ants throughout this obstacle, and any of the ants that looks like they get super stuck in the middle, I'll be picking up with these tweezers and moving back to the start so they don't get stuck in here permanently and hurt. Anyways, to actually cross this tape, like I said earlier, I gave these ants different tools, like a pile of dirt, some pieces of string, and even some wood chips to see if they'd be smart enough to actually use these things to their advantage to cross the piece of tape. And while it may look like the ants are not using the tools here, if you look very closely down here near the dirt, they've actually already started to push this pile of dirt onto the tape to make a little bridge that they can walk onto. If they keep building up this bridge, they would actually be able to cross this with no problem whatsoever. But right when I was filming this, I actually noticed that an ant had actually been walking across the tape and somehow had made it extremely close to the end. Yeah, I have no clue how this ant just managed to ignore the stickiness of this tape. I guess his legs were just extremely strong or something, because he got all the way to the end where he had a bit of trouble pulling himself off the tape, but eventually he was able to do it, and wow. Well, this ant just technically passed the obstacle.
Oh my gosh, bro. I didn't even see this ant, but I mean, he just passed the obstacle. I guess that's fair and square. Good job, bro. Why is it the past 3 obstacles? It's been a single ant that's clutched it up for the entire colony. But anyways, I gotta get all these guys off the tape so they aren't hurt at all.
So yeah, I got them all picked up into a container and transported them back to their nest safely.
All right, because you guys beat it, I'm gonna give you this piece of the strawberry. And because the ants beat all of the obstacles I gave them, I'm gonna be giving them this brand new ant nest. Basically, it's just a bit more compact and it has a cool outworld on the top. And I think it's just a bit more optimal for them. So I'm gonna go and move them in there. Anyways, hopefully you guys were entertained and learned something new about ants.
This first one just had a bunch of random insects, but in this video, I'll be flipping 100 different rocks in the Puerto Rican rainforest to find all sorts of weird lizards, venomous spiders, and even crazy snakes you've never seen. Way over to object number 2, and literally right under the piece of wood was this insane alien-looking creature. They're called tailless whip scorpions, and I've actually made entire videos about keeping these guys as pets. It's crazy we already found something this weird and rare, and so I continued exploring. Eventually, I came across object number 3, which underneath had this weird-looking white worm thing. But in fact, this is not a worm at all. It's a baby beetle. Basically, over time, these little larvae will start to mutate and eventually will break out of their shell and become a beetle. And this one is absolutely massive, so it's probably gonna turn into some giant mutant rainforest beetle with a massive horn. Hopefully we'll find one of those later, but anyways, I went and flipped rock 4, which had nothing underneath. From now on, I'm not gonna show anything with nothing, so it'll just be constant cool rainforest animals. And that's exactly what I found with rock number 7, because underneath was this weird white thing in a hole. But after moving around the dirt a bit, I realized this was actually a wolf spider's home. And that massive white thing, well, that's its egg sac, and soon it'll hatch into hundreds of mini spiders. You can see the spider mom was super defensive and did not leave the egg sac at all. So I put her home back and kept exploring. Soon after, I came across the next object, which when I tried to flip it, well, it kind of broke apart in my hands. And this happened because if you take a closer look on here, there's tons of these little white bugs crawling all over it. These are termites, which you probably already know eat wood like this. They'll literally just set up their entire colonies inside of these dead logs and just eat them from the inside out. Now, under object number 10, I found the coolest thing so far.
Oh shoot, what is that?
You see, on the bottom side of the log, I saw this little tail thing poking out from under the bark. At first, I thought it was some sort of worm, but if you look closely, you can see it has a bunch of tiny little scales on it, so it can't be a worm. So there was only one thing to do: get out the backpack. You see, in the backpack, I've packed tons of items to be able to interact with the wildlife out here. And the first item we're taking out is these tweezers. Using the tweezers, I started to peel back some of the bark on the log until I eventually revealed the animal. It really looked so much like a worm, but you can tell by how it was slithering around that it was actually a snake. These are called Brahmini blind snakes, and they're the smallest species in the whole world. Basically, this species spends their whole life underground just like worms do. And a fun fact about them is they're all female. Basically, they have the ability to clone their genes into an egg, and that's how more snakes are born. So if you ever see one of these in the wild, just know it has the same exact genes as this one does. It's pretty crazy. Now, by this point, I reached my first little water section of the trail, which was absolutely beautiful.
Well, dang, I don't really know if you can hear me, but it's a pretty nice area, as you can see. But basically, I just want to see if I can see something under the water with the GoPro.
Now, obviously, GoPros are waterproof, which lets me do this. And at first, it was kind of just a cloudy mess, but then this fish came out of nowhere. Knowing that there was at least one fish down here, I put the camera back under and figured out that there was a whole school of them. However, since the water was so cloudy, there was even more of those same fish, and now I could clearly see that these were mountain mullets, which are a species native to these Puerto Rican rainforests. You see, this species is really cool because they actually are born in oceans. And once they're born, they swim up the rivers into Puerto Rico to get to these remote rainforest streams. Then, when it's time to lay eggs, they swim back to the ocean and repeat the process. It's very cool. Also, by the way, right next to these fish were a ton of these little aquatic snails, which are super important for the environment because they eat up all the algae. Anyways, a bit later, I came across this rock with a little lizard sitting on top. When I got close, it of course ran away, but I figured this was a good omen, so I flipped it, and underneath there was nothing. But since that lizard was sitting on top of the rock, I figured that underneath of it could actually be its home. So I had an idea, and I got out the backpack, and inside I took out this little container of super worms. Then I basically put a bunch of them onto my hand and just put them under the rock in case case the lizard wanted to eat some of them. Now, I was just gonna leave them and walk away, but then I noticed that that same exact lizard that was sitting on top of the rock had actually already ran over and ate one of the worms. And yeah, he was enjoying it a ton. You're welcome, buddy. There's more where that came from. And speaking of lizards eating stuff, nearby I also went and flipped this rock that had nothing underneath, but out of the corner of my eye, I noticed another lizard. And this guy instantly went on the run and started parkouring across the rocks to get away from me. But eventually, I did get a closer look and realized this was a green anole lizard, and it looked like there was something actually massive in its mouth. And the thing sticking out of its mouth kind of looked like the belly of another lizard, which would make sense because these green anole lizards are cannibalistic killers. And when they're hungry, they'll just straight up eat their friends. Yeah, talk about fake friends, am I right? Anyways, a bit later, I flipped this rock here, and underneath, I found my first ant colony. You see, ant colonies are a bit rarer in rainforests like this, which is why I didn't see any up to this point, so it was a kind of cool find. And then the rock I flipped right after also had another ant colony of the same exact species. Now, I'm pretty sure this species is called big-headed ants, which I can tell because as you can see, some of the workers have massive heads that are like 3 times the size of normal workers. This happens because at birth, the normal worker ants find the biggest and strongest pupa and spray a special pheromone on them. Then as the pupa grow older and older, they just grow up with massive heads and help move around some of the larger stuff that the small workers can't. In this case, the big-headed workers were helping move the eggs back underground since proper snake behind it. But as you can see, it was a little bit camera shy because it instantly slithered into the bushes before I could get a good look. So I got out the backpack, and inside I packed this snake hook. Basically, people use these snake hooks to pick up deadly venomous snakes so they don't get bit, and obviously I didn't want to get bit, so using the hook, I started to dig around in the grass it slithered into and tried to look for it. But unfortunately, the hook just ended up breaking.
Bruh, it broke. Oh my gosh.
But this was still a good sign for cool rare animals, and trust me, we'll be finding more snakes very soon. Now, the next rock I flipped had this weird little fuzzy worm under it. Now, even after searching online, I couldn't really figure out what this is. I thought it could be like a moth cocoon, but I'm pretty sure those only grow on trees, so comment if you know what this is. But behind that crawled out this little bug, which, oh, I have experience with these guys a lot. These are called isopods, and they're sometimes called roly-polies because they roll up into a ball when threatened. But I love these guys because I always put them in the terrariums I build at home because they eat all the dead matter and keep everything clean. So yeah, thanks for existing, guys. You're awesome. I kept on venturing through the rainforest and eventually came across this fence with a few bricks laid on the floor under it. It looked like the perfect spot for animals to be hiding under, and I was right because under that first brick was this massive beetle. And after getting a closer look, I could tell this was some sort of rhinoceros beetle, which are called rhinoceros beetles because the males grow these massive horns on their head, which they use to fight each other with. But this is a female, which is why it doesn't have a horn. In fact, if you remember that massive beetle larva from earlier, I think that actually turns into one of these. So yeah, that's pretty cool that we got to find one of these. Under the next brick was this little centipede bug, and under the third brick was this little slug. I'm not sure what species this is, but I left my phone pointing at it for a couple minutes and got this cool time-lapse footage of it slugging around. Now, as I kept on venturing, I found a cool bug under this rock. At first, I know you can't really see anything, but if I zoom in and highlight this spot here, there's actually a cave cricket right here, which is just super camouflaged. But these guys are cool because they basically have the ability to teleport when they sense danger. Yeah, they really just move so fast that it looks like teleportation. That's pretty crazy. But this next rock I flipped had something I've never seen before. Of course, right there, you can tell that there was a little worm under the dirt, but above and to the left of it was this weird little white thing. I thought at first it could be like a termite or something, but after getting a closer look, I realized it resembled the shape of a worm egg sac. For some reason, I just never thought that worms came out of eggs. But yeah, apparently this is what it looks like when they're born. They just gotta rip their way out of an egg. Dang, that's cool. Now, by this point on the trail, I had gotten to this little section of paved road, and while I was walking on it, I ended up coming across this.
Oh shoot, wait, look at this. Oh shoot, it's a snake. Look at that.
But if you're wondering why it's not moving and blurred, well, that's because it was actually run over by a car here. Unfortunately, accidents like this are bound to happen on roads, but this is still a good sign for finding more cool animals like this. And thankfully, that's exactly what I found as I made it back to the trail. You see, the first rock I flipped, I saw a little burrow underneath, but I didn't even realize that there was something sitting on the rock I was grabbing.
Oh my gosh. Oh,
I did not see that. Hold on, there's a hairy spider camouflaged on this rock right now.
This is actually a Puerto Rican tarantula, and they're extremely rare to just find out in the open in the day like this. Yeah, they usually spend their entire days underground in some sort of burrow. For this tarantula, I had to get out the backpack, and from inside, I once again pulled out this container of super worms. Then, using some tweezers, I basically just started to wave around the worms in front of the tarantula's face to see if he'd eat them. And yeah, it didn't really seem like he was liking it too much, because he got really defensive and ran into his burrow. He even started to run towards me, and since these guys are venomous, I did not want to make him any more angry, and I put his home back on top.
Sorry, buddy. I'll leave you alone now.
Anyways, I kept flipping random objects as I continued down the trail and wasn't finding many animals for a while. But I did find some pretty random stuff, like just a whole fruit under this leaf, which was like kind of mushy and moldy, so I didn't try and eat it. And also, while walking, I found this weird bone thing on the side of the trail. I'm not 100% sure what this bone belongs to, but I do know Puerto Rico used to have some like wild pigs running around back in the day, which I guess this would make sense if this was a pig bone, but let me know in the comments if you're a bone expert. I'm not really. Now, under Object 92, there was this little millipede, but also right next to it was this weird black bug I've never seen before. But I figured out it's called a rove beetle, and what makes them so cool are these spikes on their back. You see, when they dig under the dirt a bit, they poke out those spikes on their back to mimic little claws or pinchers poking out of the dirt, which will scare away predators. Also, apparently, they have wings they can just unfold like a robot and let them fly away. I have no idea how nature evolved to do this. Now, by this point, I was starting to get worried because it was starting to get late, and I knew there were still bigger tarantulas and scorpions to be found out here. And yeah, the next few rocks I flipped also had nothing, but that was until object number 96 when I found this. It was another tarantula, and this one is actually a Puerto Rican pink-toed tarantula, which is a slightly different species.
Okay, now this is cool. It's bigger than that first tarantula we just found. And since this guy's a bit bigger, I think I actually have something in the backpack for it.
From inside, I pulled out this stick, which actually lets me attach my GoPro camera to it. Basically, I want to use this stick to get the GoPro super close to the tarantula without having to worry about getting bit, and that's exactly what I did, because I went and gently nudged the leg of the tarantula with the GoPro, and it actually woke up. Then I bumped it again, and this time it ran around to the other side of the log. Finally, I just waved it around a bit more in front of him, and he wasn't really doing anything. To be honest, I don't really know what I expected. And now, as you can see, I was getting pretty near the end of the trail, and underneath some of the final objects, I was finding no new animals. And eventually, it got time to flip object 100, so I looked around for the best thing to flip. And while I was exploring, I actually came across this dirt area with this metal piece of trash in the middle. Of course, I looked inside of it to see if there was anything, and I didn't see anything at first, but for some reason, I decided to turn on my phone flashlight to double check. And that's when I found this. It's a scorpion. And not only was there that, because when I moved the trash to get a better angle at the scorpion, I found a second scorpion also on the walls of this trash. These are Puerto Rican bark scorpions, and they've actually got pretty painful stings.
Bro, this is so insane. This whole time I've been trying to find scorpions, and literally on object 100, this is where the scorpions are. Well, hey, I'm not complaining because I've packed something in the backpack specifically for if I found these guys, and it's a flashlight. Now, you may already know this, but if you turn on the flashlight and go through the modes or something, eventually it'll turn blue or purple, as you can see. And now if we go and shine this inside of here, look at that, scorpions.
If a black widow walked into a Venus flytrap, what would happen? Would the trap close on top of the spider and eat it whole? Or would the black widow be able to use its venom to squeeze its way out? Well, I'm gonna be testing just that, along with tons of other insect types to see how strong Venus flytraps really are. Now, to get a Venus flytrap, I got the traps delivered in the mail. After taking them out, I separated them into cheap and expensive. You can see the cheap Venus flytraps actually gave me quite a lot for just $10. And the traps themselves did look pretty healthy, big, and had that signature green and red color. Nice. However, over on the expensive side, you can see these are a bit different. They're not even packaged at all, and they look way more natural with moss all around the dirt. However, the main difference in these ones is that they're basically fully red. Like, they literally look like an apple. I've never seen Venus flytraps like that. But other than that, these traps mostly look the same, and hopefully at least one of them will be able to successfully trap a black widow. But before we test the black widow, we also got some other insects to test, starting with a fly.
Thankfully, I'm a weird bug guy, so I just got a container of a bunch of flies, which might actually mostly be dead, but I think some are alive in there.
First of all, let's get the plants in their testing chambers, and we'll be testing the strength of the cheap $10 traps first. Without wasting any time, I just put in a single fly and put 30 minutes on the clock. And if it gets caught before the timer's up, I'll add in some more flies. But instantly, as you can see, the fly started to climb along the glass to try and escape. Thankfully though, I've sealed this enclosure shut, and once the fly realized that, he ended up going back down to the floor. Now this is where where things get interesting, because the fly landed on one of the pots with all of the Venus flytrap plants. What makes Venus flytraps so effective is actually their nectar. Just like normal flowers, these traps also produce nectar around this little green lip part of the plant. And basically what it's designed to do is lure hungry insects in, and while they're eating the plant, of course, it shuts. But I guess because these plants are so cheap, they didn't have very much of that nectar, because after standing around for like a minute, the fly just flew away without even stepping in any of the jaws. And from there on out, the fly basically drained the 30-minute timer down all the way to 3 minutes by just standing on the glass. However, eventually he decided to explore near the cheap Venus flytraps once again. And this time he got a little bit too close, because he stepped onto one of the traps and it could literally close on him right now. But the trap took a second too long and the fly was able to fly out once it sensed the movement. You see, Venus flytraps have a very interesting system for how they detect prey and activate their jaws, which I'll go more in depth with when the trap actually traps an insect. For now, the fly just sort of walked around on the dirt for the rest of the timer, and well, the cheap trap was a fail. Thankfully, over on the right, we got the expensive one though, worth 10 times more, and this should have a much better result. So I put in a new fly, and let's get the timer started to see how quickly this guy gets caught. Now, I'm not gonna lie, this fly was a bit crazier than that first one, because for the first 3 minutes, he literally just flew around the entire enclosure like he was insane, just hitting all the glass trying to escape. But after he tired himself out, it was time for the Venus flytraps to do their thing. Instantly, you can tell the fly was way more drawn to the traps, as these expensive ones have a much stronger, more smelly nectar. And that was proven because right after, the fly walked in one of the traps. But quickly, it walked out right as the trap closed. Yeah, you can see in this instant replay, the trap may have missed the fly, but comparing the cheap and expensive traps, the expensive one closes way faster. And only a minute later, the fly was still chilling near the traps. And this time, the nectar caught him off guard, because he walked onto the trap and put his face straight up to the lip of the plant where it was. And well, yeah, the video is paused right now, but you could probably tell what's about to happen. Just like that, the trap got a perfect close on the fly. You see, every single Venus flytrap has these super tiny trigger hairs inside of the jaws. And when a bug or something touches more than 2 of them, the trap starts to close. And these expensive ones are able to close so quickly that they catch most of the prey that steps inside. You can see slight bits of movement inside over the next 20 minutes, but over the next few days, the trap is going to release a type of acid on the fly to digest it down and grow even stronger. Well, it only took 5 minutes for that to trap the fly, and the cheap one didn't catch any. So the expensive one definitely takes home the win, and I think I'm gonna have to rate him a 3 out of 10 for how entertaining it was to watch. And I just say that because the next 2 insects should be way more interesting, especially the Black Widow. I have no idea what's gonna happen with that. Anyways, second up though, we got crickets to test. Thankfully, crickets can't fly or climb glass, so they should be way easier to catch. And after letting one loose in the cheap enclosure, I put 30 minutes on the clock. Let's see what happens. Now, for the first little while, the cricket spent most of its time just walking on the dirt along the side of the glass to, of course, try and find an escape. Because let's be real, every cricket that sees me on this channel knows it's about to get eaten. He did not want to be in here. But after 5 minutes, he made his first approach to the traps. And one thing I should probably say is that the crickets are way more attracted to nectar, as it's a primary part in their diet. And that was shown because soon after, the cricket started to climb on the outside of the jaws of this trap. And right after that, I actually realized the cricket had stepped inside one of the traps, and it sort of looked like it was drinking nectar. But hello, Venus flytrap, there's a cricket standing inside of you right now. Are you gonna close? Yeah, the cricket really just stood there for 30 seconds, and when it was finished drinking the nectar, it started to walk out, and then finally the trap closed. Good job, bro. You were only a minute late at closing. I guess the cricket must have just not hit a trigger hair inside until the very end, which is why that happened. Anyways, nothing really new happened up until 15 minutes left on the clock, when I decided I wanted to add in 3 more crickets to make this more interesting. And while these guys all ran around the enclosure, I closely watched them to see if any would step inside any of the traps. And at 5 minutes left, this happened. You see, this cricket started to walk up the stem of this trap. Then he walked inside, realized it was a dead end, and tried to turn around. But it was too late because the trap closed on him, leaving him half stuck inside. So I literally just got some time-lapse footage of this guy to see if he'd be able to escape. And actually, while I was recording that, another cricket below also stepped into one of the traps. And he also got half of his body stuck inside. Thankfully, this cricket was able to use some of the stuff around him to pry himself out of the trap. However, I don't know if this guy will be able to do the same, since he's in the air and has nothing to grab onto. So I guess I'll just leave you here. Sorry, boy. Good luck. But anyways, that concludes the timer, and I would call this a half success for the cheap plants this time. But oh boy, am I excited to do this with the expensive traps. I didn't want to waste any time, so I put in 1 cricket. And this time, the cricket instantly walked towards the traps, like within a couple seconds. And he started to just play with his life, because he would just be walking through the plants like this, narrowly escaping the insane speed of these expensive Venus Venus flytraps. Now, only a few minutes later, the cricket once again walked into a Venus flytrap. This time, he managed to dodge all the trigger hairs and he put his mouth up to the lip of the plant to drink some nectar. But yeah, the second he started moving again, he wasn't so lucky because the trap got an absolutely perfect close on him. And well, it only took 7 minutes for the expensive traps to fully capture a cricket. So once again, I'm gonna have to give the win to expensive. And I think I'm gonna rate that a 6 out of 10 for entertainment because way more traps closed, which was fun to watch. But you already know what time it is. It is a Black Widow o'clock. Yeah, it's time to test the Black Widows now.
Now, I've never actually just seen a Black Widow walking around where I live. I don't know why. I guess they just don't have them here in my state.
So the only way to get one was to get out the laptop and find a website selling them. I ended up finding a good listing on this website, so I bought some, and the next day they got delivered to my house. As you can see, I bought a pretty good amount of these guys, and as you can probably also see, they're super creepy. They got that signature glossy black color, a massive abdomen, and of course, they got the red hourglasses on the back of that abdomen to let you know they're extremely venomous. In fact, something I just learned about these guys is their venom is actually 15 times more potent than rattlesnake venom. That's why when I opened the container to get a closer look, I got extremely scared when they started running away straight towards me.
Bro, that Black Widow just ran out of here. He webbed down the side of the table and just started running around the floor. But don't worry, I actually scooped him up into this box I had laying around. I'm pretty scared of Black Widows.
Anyways, I went and put one of the Black Widows inside the cheap trap enclosure and got 30 minutes on the clock. This is about to get interesting. Let's see what happens. Right away, the Black Widow made her way towards the traps. Now, Black Widows are a lot slower than crickets and flies, so if this spider steps inside a trap, there's a high likelihood of it getting caught. And while nothing really happened for the first couple of minutes, eventually the spider started to walk along the tops of some of the traps. You can see Black Widows are very meticulous with their movement, and it would very carefully place its legs above the trap, making sure not to step inside. But even with that, the spider was playing a dangerous game because all it needed was one bad step. Anyways, about 15 minutes later, I noticed that the spider had actually started to spin a little bit of silk, and maybe it was planning on building its web here. But unfortunately, she would never get the chance to finish because she took a wrong turn into the Venus flytrap, and well, it closed straight on her. Almost perfectly. However, there was still some legs sticking out. To be honest, it didn't look good for the Black Widow, and besides a few leg twitches, it looked like the spider had just lost to the Venus flytrap. And if you thought that was cool, well, you gotta see the expensive Venus flytraps because right after putting the Black Widow in, he instantly walked up to a Venus flytrap. And literally within the first 30 seconds of the timer, he stepped inside one of the traps, ducked down a little bit too much, and the trap closed on him within an instant. In my opinion, this one was even cooler to watch. And yeah, his legs were also just sticking out of the size of the trap. And well, hopefully that answers the question. Venus flytraps do beat Black Widows. This is 1,000 mosquito eggs, and in just a couple days, they're going to hatch into 1,000 actual flying mosquitoes that I'm going to be doing the most interesting experiments with, like feeding them a pool of blood. Anyways, right now, the mosquito eggs we have are dormant, but all they need to hatch is a bit of water. The second a dry mosquito egg touches water, the embryos inside absorb it and basically come to life. And literally within only a few minutes of adding in the water, check out this area right here. A tiny little white speck started to poke out from the top of this single egg. Everyone, this is a mosquito larva, also known as a wiggler. And yeah, you can probably tell why they're called wigglers based on how much they wiggle, but over the next few days, this will eat food and literally evolve into a fully grown mosquito. It will actually be one of the craziest things you'll ever see. Oh, but yeah, I almost forgot. We don't just have one, we have 1,000 mosquitoes that we're gonna be raising. And only a minute later, another wiggler started to wiggle out, then another, and soon enough, this tank was starting to get overrun with our new pets. I have to be so careful in this video. Oh my gosh, this is so weird. Literally 1,000 mosquito larvae are right here. But if we want them to turn into real mosquitoes, there's a couple things we gotta do to speed up their growth process. Of course, starting with feeding them. And I don't even know what these things eat. I mean, they're practically microscopic at this stage. Yeah. I mean, I guess let me just search, what do mosquito larvae eat? Enter. And it looks like they eat microscopic organic matter. Oh, I actually have an idea of how I could do this. This is fish food. Yeah, not super special, but for when the larvae are this small, it works perfectly to crush up into tiny little pieces. And immediately after dropping in some of this crushed food, it sank down to the bottom for the larvae to start eating. Since the larvae were just born about an hour ago, they're still so unbelievably small that it's just so hard to see, but you can kind of make out the shape of its mouth if you look very closely right here. It's insane how there's a brain and actual life in something this tiny. Anyways, you can see they tried to eat most of this food, but it's still a bit big. So once it dissolves into the water, it'll become even easier for these guys to eat it. But things get fun quickly, because these wigglers more than double in size every 24 hours. So I have a feeling if we come back tomorrow, these guys are going to be a lot bigger. Good morning, Terra Greeners. I just woke up. The mosquitoes are probably bigger now. I haven't really checked though. Let me look. Wait, I haven't even zoomed in yet. And wait, you can literally see. Oh my gosh. Yeah, if you can't tell by this footage, the larvae are so much bigger now. And when I turned on my camera to record them in detail, I was amazed by how much they grew literally overnight. The day before, this was the most zoomed in footage I could get of these guys. But now, the larvae almost filled up the entire frame, and look at how much more detailed they are. This black bulb at the bottom is their heads, and they're so big already, we can make out their mouth a lot easier, and we can even see their tiny little eyes. These guys are so cool, because you can literally see how their mouth works as a little boat motor essentially, and they can just use it to slowly drift among the water surface. Sometimes they'll even curl up and start sucking up microscopic food particles from the surface. Okay, well this video is all about doing the funnest experiments with the mosquitoes, so next up, I want to test their light instincts. Because if you didn't know, adult flying mosquitoes are insanely attracted to light. I mean, they'll just swarm light at night. But I was wondering if that instinct starts when they are babies. Well, to figure it out, I turned off all the lights in my garage and watched what they did. Pretty quickly, the larvae actually started to rise to the surface way more. If you remember, most of the larvae were spending most of their time together, sort of near the bottom of the tanks when the lights were on. But yeah, with the lights off, they all like to be on the surface apparently. Okay, that's pretty interesting. But now what I want to do is take this super bright studio light and position it pointing right at the side of the enclosure. So that way we can turn it on. There we go. And we can see what they do. Yeah, let's see. And literally the second after turning on this light, like magic, the larvae started to migrate away from it. And they all started to gather up on the right side as far away from the light as possible. Wait, so these guys are moving away from the light. Huh, that's interesting. The fully grown mosquitoes, they'll completely swarm light. But when they're larvae, they will completely avoid it. So to confirm my theory, I turned off this light and moved it over to the right side. And immediately the larvae did exactly what I thought they would, and they went back to the left side. Since I could kind of control where they were, I thought it'd be funny to kind of just swap the lights on and off on each side and, you know, make them do some exercise. Listen, okay, I gotta train some strong, capable mosquitoes for when I put them up against a pile of blood. It's gonna be so interesting. Dang, that is actually so cool to watch how they do that. And apparently they do this because they don't want to get eaten by fish, of course, and if they're in the darkness, then it's obviously harder for the fishes to see them. But actually, very interestingly, while I was doing that last test, if I go and stir the floor around like that and zoom in, you can see there's tons of what almost looks like just dead mosquito larvae that is just drifting around in the water. Now, I got worried for a second. I thought something was going around killing all the mosquitoes, but don't worry. I actually figured out that these are not dead mosquito larvae. You see, what these are actually the old skin of our current larvae. You see, these guys apparently shed off their old skin 4 times before becoming a flying mosquito. Basically, just like how other animals will molt their skin off when it's time to grow bigger. So of course, now that I know that, for the next experiment, I gotta see if I can capture on camera a shot of them molting. Basically, what I'm gonna do is go and move my lights back to the, the back of the enclosure. And basically, that's gonna cause all the larvae to go and swim to the front. And then I can just leave my camera running for like 24 hours, and surely I could capture at least one of these guys molting to get that shot for you guys. And so yeah, I recorded this for like 2 hours, and after thoroughly reviewing all of the footage, none of the larvae actually shed their skin, unfortunately. But obviously, I was not gonna give up. So I spent hours actively recording with my camera, watching every single larvae at the water surface. Apparently, they only molt out their skin when they're hanging upside down from the top. And after about 2 hours, I found this larva. You can tell he was about to molt by the fact that he was hanging upside down for a pretty long time without moving. And every now and then, he would try and twitch to squeeze out of his old skin. If you look very closely right here, you can see his old skin starting to slide up and off. And this white part right here is his new skin underneath. But after watching this guy for like another hour, all of a sudden he just started to float down, and he fell all the way to the floor and completely stopped moving. Yeah, apparently the molting process is actually really grueling for mosquitoes, and there's a chance that they can use all their energy while doing it and die, which I guess just happened to this guy. Rest in peace, bro. But of course, this was not gonna stop me, because I kept recording for longer and longer until I eventually caught this footage. footage. Keep in mind, this is literally the first footage on the internet of a mosquito larvae molting because of how hard it is to catch. So you can't complain about how trash this footage quality is. But anyways, you can see it started to shake violently and it started to slide out of its old skin. This dark part is his new skin, and eventually he was able to fully slide out and only his molt was left behind. It's so cool to watch this happen, and after it does, the new larvae swims away and leaves the old skin behind, which that skin will probably get eaten by another larvae very soon for some protein.
Let's go. I'm so happy we just got to see that. But in fact, I just spent so long trying to get that shot that almost all of our larvae now are pretty much fully grown, meaning yes, we're about to have 1,000 mosquitoes hatching in just a matter of days. And about that, it would be extremely illegal and just really bad if a mosquito escaped, let alone 1,000 mosquitoes. So I have a feeling it's time we build some sort of containment system. Oh man.
Now thankfully, I had this big tank sitting in my garage, which would actually be a perfect fit to put over our current tank. So when the mosquitoes hatch, they won't be able to just fly away. But obviously, there's a big opening on the bottom, which would be bad if we had to move this. All the mosquitoes would get out. So what I did was put our current tank in here while the big one was sideways. And then I got this piece of clear acrylic that I'm gonna be able to attach to the front. And when I attach this piece of acrylic, it's gonna make sure no mosquitoes can get out. But you're probably wondering why I got all these massive holes right here. Well, what I'm gonna do is this. And as you can see, I just put mesh in each of the corners so, you know, air can get in. But I left this hole open in the middle so I can put a little door here so we'll be able to put stuff in, but mosquitoes won't be able to get out. It's pretty simple to make though, because all we gotta do is attach this little sleeve contraption I made and put a clamp on the end.
Basically how it works is if you want to put your arm inside, you go ahead and take off the safety clamp like that. And basically what you do is while you're holding it still, you gotta carefully stretch your arm inside, and then boom, when it's around your arm, it's very airtight and you can go ahead and put your arm inside. And you see I have access to here and the mosquitoes won't be able to get out, and it's very easy to go and take my arm out, keep it shut, and then I can go and put the clamp back on.
And after I had my dad silicone the acrylic on, boom, this containment system is done. But guys, there's actually something I didn't tell you about these mosquitoes. In their life cycles, there's a whole nother stage of life before becoming mosquitoes that lasts about a day. And when I came back the next day to my tank, I noticed they were already entering it.
Oh my gosh, guys, look at what I just saw. Take a look at the larvae in here. You see these little circular things swimming around next to the actual larvae? Those are the pupae, and that means they're about to hatch.
You see, these pupae are also called tumblers because, well, they tumble down when they sense potential danger nearby. But the coolest thing is how these guys look. They got these weird, scary looking eyes. They got little horns that act as snorkels for oxygen. And of course, they look way different from a larva with that cool shrimp-shaped body. And if you're wondering how it looks when a larva turns into a pupae, well, this awesome footage from Backyard Bugs shows it. Basically, the skin splits at the thorax area, and very similarly to how the larvae molt, the new pupae will slide out, and yeah, it's pretty amazing.
Yes, sir. These guys are so cool, but we haven't even got to see the coolest part where they literally crawl out the pupae, and it's like an alien movie. It's crazy. But yeah, I don't think that shot's gonna be too hard to get because we're on like day 8, and check what has just started to hatch. Yep, that is a mosquito, meaning there's like 3 mosquitoes in here right now, so it shouldn't be long till we have much more.
You see, the pupae get darker and darker as they get closer to turning into a mosquito. So since this pupae is bright white, I know he won't be hatching anytime soon, but these pupae here are extremely dark, meaning the mosquito is right under that skin, ready to crawl out.
So to make the shot even easier to get, I'm gonna suck all the darkest pupae up into this little pipette and put them in this container to make it easier to record.
Now, since the mosquitoes have already started to hatch, I actually had to use the door I made to get my hand inside so they wouldn't escape, and I used my little pipette to start sucking up as many of the dark pupae as I could. Then I put them into a temporary container and I started to film. Thankfully, the pupae hatched within only a few hours of turning black, so it was literally only about an hour of recording till I caught this on camera. Out of nowhere, this pupa here started to straighten out its tail. This makes a little tunnel here for the head of the mosquito to start squeezing out. It's so nasty, but you can see how this area here just keeps inflating. The mosquito is literally being born in front of our eyes, and you can see how it's leaving the clear pupa skin behind. All of a sudden, his little mouth pops out here that they use to suck blood, and soon after, you can see his wings popped out as well.
Oh my gosh, guys, this is insane. Wait, this is happening right now.
Finally, the legs stop sticking to the body, and bada bing, bada boom, that's how a mosquito is born. They'll basically stand here for like half an hour while they wait for their body and wings to harden up.
Unfortunately, I am not allowed to just let this guy fly out. Yeah, when you hatch mosquitoes in your house, it is just illegal to let them escape. So I'm gonna try and move them into this tank, but if I can't do it, I do have this here.
But thankfully, I didn't have to use that since it was super easy to just grab it with tweezers and let it loose in the containment system. W mosquitoes, bro. That was one of the coolest things I have seen.
Well, guys, it's been another few days, and I'm proud to say we have 100+ mosquitoes now. I mean, we got tons just flying around. We got even more just sitting all over the glass. And that's not even to mention all the mosquitoes just hiding around.
Now, I can test these guys with my last 2 mosquito experiments, starting with sticking my hand inside of the tank of mosquitoes.
But in addition to my hand going in there, I've also got a couple kinds of mosquito repellent. So we can test if these things actually work. I am definitely about to get bit.
So I started to apply the first mosquito repellent to my arm by spraying it. You see, mosquitoes are insanely attracted to the scent and heat of human skin, but somehow the spray stuff completely blocks all of those and messes with the mosquito senses.
Theoretically, when I stick my hand in there, I shouldn't get bit. Well, I guess let's just do this.
And as I stuck my hand in, I got very nervous. I hate mosquito bites.
They're flying very close, but yeah, I don't think they can even sense that this is a hand right now.
Yeah, I literally left my hand in there another 30 seconds and not a single mosquito even landed on it. When normally they would definitely be swarming it.
Dang, this stuff works good. If you need some mosquito repellent, I recommend this brand. It's not sponsored or anything, but it's pretty good. But now the second mosquito repellent I want to test. Well, you see this app right here? This app claims to literally make a sound that will repel mosquitoes. Oh, do you hear that? It's like a high-pitched buzz. Okay, well, let's see if this works.
Now, I've heard these apps are myths, but as I put my hand inside, the mosquitoes weren't instantly swarming it. In fact, they were acting kind of similar to earlier when I was testing the spray stuff, even though I had thoroughly washed it all off my hand. Maybe these apps actually do work. That was until I found this when I took my hand out.
Okay, for a second, I thought this app actually worked. Well, let me turn off this ear-piercing sound. But then I realized I actually got bit like right there. Yeah, I can definitely feel it. It's starting to itch and stuff. Don't use these apps, guys. I can assure you they are fake, but I guess this stuff kind of does work.
Anyways, now it's time for the moment we've all been waiting for. Mosquitoes versus blood.
And yes, I actually have a jar of blood from a cow. Oh my gosh.
Now, in order to make this have a chance to work, I had to fill up this little container with a bunch of blood, and then I put some saran wrap on top. This way, the mosquitoes could stick their little mouthpiece through it and get filled up with blood if they're hungry. Finally, I just warmed it up in the microwave so it would recreate the temperature that mosquitoes like, and I put it inside the tank. Let's see what these mosquitoes do. Now, for the first like 20 minutes, pretty much none of the 100 mosquitoes were interested. They were kind of just hiding around and not moving much, so I kept trying tons of new stuff, like dimming the lights, because apparently mosquitoes don't like to eat under the bright light, and after trying so much stuff and recording for hours, not a singular mosquito tried to eat this blood. And this cool footage, you can see mosquitoes literally only take a couple seconds to land on an arm and get completely filled up with blood. But for some reason, they only like to drink blood from arms and not just liquid blood, apparently, like we have here. Literally all the mosquitoes had gathered up on the other side of the enclosure to avoid it.
Yeah, I literally just tried to record this for 2 days. None of the mosquitoes were interested. I didn't want to have to not upload the video just because the last experiment failed, which was just so interesting to watch, so I had to upload this. Hopefully you guys learned something new and were entertained. And about these mosquitoes, I had to buy this massive freezer to terminate the colony, because that's just legally required after filming with mosquitoes, to ensure none of them escape. So I'm gonna get to doing that, guys, but I guess see you later. Goodbye.
I'm right next to it. I'm filling this tank up with the coolest species I can find, starting with plants, and eventually getting to shrimp, snails, fish, and even more. Not only will I document the process of building it, but also the daily lifestyle of every creature living inside and how they survive. To understand how it started, we're going back to day 1, where I unboxed a 21-gallon tank. Now, I wanted to build it on my actual desk, but considering my desk is made of glass, it'd probably shatter from all the weight, and the ecosystem would fall on the floor and spill all the fish around my room. I don't want that. So instead, I'm moving an old dresser into the corner. I know it looks ugly now, but just give me a second. This tablecloth hides all the stains and leaves me ready to add my tank. Now, if we want to add some awesome life to this lake, we need to first build an awesome lake. So I went out and bought all the materials I'm gonna need and started by mixing the substrate. This substrate I'm using is a mix of brown fluorite and sugar white sand, which is optimized to help the plants grow. And most importantly, it just looks cool. But before adding in plants, I did a bit more designing with some rocks and wood. Now we gotta add the water, and because I need it to be very clean water for the fish, tap water simply is not gonna cut it. Instead, I'm gonna fill it up with this reverse osmosis water filter that I get my drinking water out of. Okay, why is this thing so slow? Bruh. It may have taken literally an hour, but eventually I got enough water to fill up the aquarium. Just kidding, I still needed like 17 gallons of water. And because I'm lazy, I just put the water dispenser straight into the tank like this. I also had to add in a mineral supplement to the water because the reverse osmosis filter I used stripped them all. I was soon gonna start introducing life into the lake ecosystem, but before, I needed to complete their home by adding in plants. So I went outside and started to pick out the coolest looking plants I could find. Just kidding, those are not freshwater plants, and they would all die if I put them in. What I actually did is order 9 different species of real aquatic plants to my house. I tried using my special planting tweezers, but they were so bad. So I just used my hands, which worked a lot better. The kit I bought also came with these tiger lotus bulbs, which made me think I got scammed because this is not a plant. But apparently it's just a seed that'll grow into a full beautiful plant in a month. Although while I was putting in the plants, I kept digging up dirt and it started to make the water super dirty. I literally couldn't even see through it by the end, so I tried adding in some clarity solution to it, which usually fixes stuff like this, and I added on a filter. But after waiting 2 whole days, the water barely even cleared up, but now it just looks like tea. Wait, I wonder if it tastes like tea. Okay, it definitely doesn't. Anyways, I did some research to figure out why it was like this. And Google told me that the driftwood I added inside is releasing some chemicals called tannins into the water, which is completely polluting it. So I took that wood out and added in a product called Purigen into the filter, which should remove the tannins. While the filter cleaned the water, I took the driftwood and started to boil it. Apparently the heat removes the tannins. I mean, I don't know how that really works, but I never questioned Google. You could tell it was working well because after the first boil, the water looked like this. I wonder if this one tastes like tea. Nope. So I boiled it a few more times. The next day, the water was crystal clear again, and I added in our final and coolest plant, duckweed. Now, if I'm being honest, this didn't even come with the plant kit I bought, but I watched this one video where the guy had something similar, and I really wanted it. It was totally worth it because it looked cool from not only above, but also beneath. The only problem is that it sort of blocks light from getting into the tank, so I added on a proper light that helped light it up a bit better. I could add in the animals now, but if I did, then they would probably all die. That's because before adding in life, you need to cycle the water. Basically, you just pour a small sample of healthy bacteria into the water, and that bacteria will break down toxic chemicals. But this isn't a science channel, so if you want to learn more, go watch Bill Nye the Science Guy or something. After waiting a week, my water treatment tested it was good to add in some animals. I wanted to start by adding some invertebrates, which are animals without spines, like shrimp and snails, that will help clean up algae around the tank. First up, I got 3 yellow shrimp. The shrimp were very small. I mean, seriously, I did not expect them to be absolutely microscopic. But I pushed the duckweed out the way at the top and added them in. The shrimp immediately started to explore their new home. I was waiting for them to do something useful by maybe cleaning up some algae or something, but they kept just being lazy and standing around doing nothing. I searched up why, and apparently the reason is that these shrimp spend most of their day cleaning themselves by rubbing their body with their claws. Oh my god, the shrimp just ripped his arm off. What? I'm just kidding. That's just a piece of debris that he removed from himself. That's the whole reason why they clean themselves. But since these guys are lazy, I'm gonna add some albino mystery snails into the tank. Although, to be fair, these guys weren't much better. I mean, snails are sort of known for being the slowest animal in the world that goes 0.0006 miles an hour. Bruh. So if the snails made one wrong turn like this guy, then they're gonna waste literally 20 minutes climbing up a log for no reason at all. But at least snails are a bit better at cleaning up algae, so I can't really complain. Anyways, let's get to the good stuff, fish. For the first species, I chose the coolest looking fish I could find. Green and yellow neon tetras. Google tells me these fish originate from the Amazon rainforest. But if I'm being honest, I do not believe that, because if they actually did, they would definitely get eaten by an alligator or something. Anyways, I made a good choice by picking these guys, because after adding them in, you could immediately tell how much color they added to the ecosystem. These tetras are schooling fish, so that means that they like to stay together in groups to avoid predators in the wild. But the best thing by far about these fish is that in the nighttime when there's no lights, they have the ability to glow in the dark. This is very cool because when I'm sleeping, I can look over to my left and see some glowing fish that brings the entire ecosystem to life. But since these tetras spend most of their time in the middle to top areas of the tank, I want to add in a fish that spends most of their time at the bottom of the tank. So I got some yo-yo loaches. Loaches are also schooling fish, so I got 3 of them and added them in. They immediately went down to the substrate because they are bottom dwellers and started to explore their new home. They were honestly better at cleaning the lake than the invertebrates were, and just swept around the entire ecosystem eating any algae they could find. But the 2 best things about these loaches are that 1, they have yo-yo in their name, and I like yo-yos. And 2, their white and black pattern makes them look like a zebra, and I like zebras too. Now, the only thing the ecosystem is missing is food for the fish. I could just feed the fish these little pellets, but it's good to feed them a greater variety of food. So today, I'm feeding them some nutritious bloodworms. Now, I'm definitely not gonna touch these things because they're nasty. So now, I actually have a use for my tweezers. As soon as I dropped them in, the tetras swooped in and snatched all of them up. But every now and then, the neon tetras would miss a bloodworm where they would just drop down to the floor so the yo-yo loaches could eat them. Their mouths are so small that they need to just take these tiny little bites out of the bloodworms in order to eat. All of the life in the lake. I've gathered the craziest animal videos on the internet. Here they are. For our first crazy video, these guys were exploring a beach cave when this happened. Yeah, they got absolutely pummeled by a bajillion flies. Like, bro, what do you even do in that situation? You probably accidentally breathe in so many of those flies. Hey, I guess it's a little bit of extra protein. Okay, I feel like something could go terribly wrong in this video, because if you can't already tell, this is a real bear just sitting casually on a motorcycle with some humans. Yeah, but the craziest thing is, this bear starts to blow a horn. Nah, they trained this bear to be the car horn. Yeah, but I'm not sure why everyone here is just acting so casually. I mean, I guess this is Russia. I don't know if this is just a normal everyday thing there, but yeah, pretty crazy. Okay, I'll just let this guy explain this next clip.
Hey, y'all want to see the coolest bottle opener in the world?
Yeah, so basically this dude is holding a mouse in one hand and a glass bottle in the other. He then goes and puts the mouse on top of the bottle, holds the bottle up, and nature does its thing.
Break time!
Now, I found some pretty cool videos of shark cage encounters like this one, where the shark very angrily slams into the cage with its mouth open. To be honest, I don't know why people willingly go inside these cages. It looks pretty scary. But if you didn't know, the clips just get crazier and crazier as the video goes on. So obviously, in this next clip, the shark that attacked the cage was even more aggressive. The shark grabbed onto the cage sideways and literally would not let go. Everyone was screaming inside, but don't worry, I think they're all safe because they were also laughing. Yeah, like I said, I don't think I would go inside of one of these cages willingly. Okay, someone has to explain this video in the comments to me because it makes no sense. Obviously, you can see a bird in front of an iPad, but then this bird starts to use the iPad like a human can. And it starts swiping through the pictures, not randomly or anything. Like, actually, this bird knows what it's doing on the iPad. And eventually, he gets to a picture of a sandwich and literally zooms in on it. And he starts doing a happy dance because apparently he loves sandwiches. What? I genuinely think this bird might be smarter than me. I'm not even gonna lie. Okay, you are about to see a bear go above and beyond for a meal, because apparently there's a little worm bug thing in the soil under this tree, and when the bear saw it, he walked up to the tree and he did this. Yeah, bro literally started to knock down the tree until he literally did knock down the tree. And then he proceeded to dig through the rubble for this meal. Good job, bro. Hopefully that was worth the effort for the worm. Nice. Okay, remember that bug swarm clip from earlier? Well, I think I found one that's even funnier. Like, what the heck is going on? This is genuinely pure chaos. Whistles, screaming, car horns, and a billion bugs. Nah, bro, never put me in this situation. Okay, now you might be wondering, why on earth is a snake slithering on a power line? Well, apparently this snake saw some birds up on this power line, so somehow he got up onto here and is now absolutely risking his life to get a meal. I mean, I know some snakes are good climbers, but this has got to be extra risky considering there's no extra tree branches for him to grab onto if he falls. And yeah, I'm not sure what the snake was expecting because birds do actually have wings. Every time the snake got close, the birds kind of just flew away. Yeah, well, good luck getting down, bro, because I have no clue how you even got up here. Okay, this might be the most evil pet owner ever, because look at this.
Rocks, paper,
He taught his bird to say rock, paper, scissors, shoot, and then he put him in front of a mirror to infinitely play rock, paper, scissors with himself. So yeah, this bird is in a never-ending game of rock, paper, scissors. Is anyone gonna tell him he's playing against himself? Anybody? Oh, now this one's actually pretty crazy. You see, this dude is an ultra hummingbird enthusiast. But usually hummingbirds are impossible to get close to. So he built this super cool contraption, which he fills with nectar, straps to his head, and then the birds will fly extremely close to his face to drink it. And as long as he doesn't move at all, this just lets him watch and study his favorite birds for hours. Now, this is actually pretty wholesome. Everyone drop W's in the comments for the red hat hummingbird guy. Okay, this will probably be the most monkeys you ever see in one video. I'm not sure where this was recorded or why there's so many monkeys just running in the street, but yeah, there is. So the crazy part of this video is when fireworks randomly went off and of course spooked all the monkeys, causing them to go bananas. Yeah, there is a genuine stampede of monkeys. Are these guys just gonna live in the city now or what? I don't really know. Okay, if I was this diver, I would be so mad because you can see he puts his GoPro camera up to this octopus to try and get some cool footage. But if we switch to the GoPro's view, we can see things quickly started to go wrong because the octopus started to climb out of its hole and actually put one of his tentacles onto the camera. But he didn't stop there because he then completely climbed onto the GoPro so the diver couldn't record anything anymore. Dang, I guess this octopus was camera shy. But thankfully the diver had a backup camera so we could see the struggle he went through to get this octopus off. Yeah, it took about like 2 minutes, but eventually he was successful and the octopus swam back off to the sea floor. And it's cool because you can see the octopus change its color as it swam away to camouflage. Okay, so we all know the story of the tortoise versus the hare. Well, some people actually recreated that in real life. Yeah, might sound stupid because you would just expect the hare to obviously win, but similar to the actual story, halfway through the hare stopped to take a break because he was so far in the lead, but the tortoise was still going with all of his might and overtook the hare and eventually made it to the finish line to win the race. Dang, who knew slow and steady actually really does win the race? Okay, I'm not sure what's up with bears acting like humans in this video because this security camera caught a bear that walked up to this family's car and for some reason it got up on its hind legs like a human and using its arms it just opened the car door casually and started rummaging through the car. I have no clue how it just knew to open the door like that, but yeah, apparently it just ate all the food inside and then just walked away. Animals are getting too smart, I swear. This next clip documents something not many people have successfully been able to record. But basically, it shows a caterpillar being born. Oh, but not only that, because it also shows that same caterpillar when it went into its chrysalis stage. And yeah, I just think it's insanely crazy to see the caterpillar crawl out of its old skin and eventually turn from this green shell into a fully grown butterfly, which then eventually is able to crawl out from the chrysalis and is able to restart the life cycle itself. Okay, this bird is about to sing a song, and I want you guys to guess what song he's singing. Yeah, he's singing the If You're Happy and You Know It song. And the craziest part is when he taps the beak on the table at the part where you're supposed to clap your hands. Like, how do you even teach your bird to do that? I'm in awe with how smart some of these birds are. Okay, this video basically shows an orangutan from a zoo interacting with a dog. And you won't believe how locked in this dog gets at the orangutan. Because for some reason, the orangutan starts to try and annoy the dog by banging on the glass, which gets the dog so mad. Yeah, this dude looks like he wants blood. And the best part is when the orangutan starts to put a stick through the hole in the glass to tease the dog, but the dog doesn't even budge at this point because he's had enough of this monkey's rage bait. What an interesting interaction. Okay, take a listen to what this guy has to say real quick.
We've got our friendly neighborhood spider who's chilling over here, and the cockroach.
Yeah, I thought this video was so crazy because it shows why Australians actually love keeping these giant spiders in their house. Because in it, he catches a cockroach from the shower to demonstrate how good these spiders are at hunting. Yep, within like half a second, the spider pounced onto the cockroach and started to devour it. So basically, having these things in your house is like a built-in pest control. As long as you're fine with seeing giant spiders every now and then, which I definitely would not be okay with. Now, this video shows the most insane alien-looking creature on Earth. Yeah, this isn't fake. It's actually a super rare type of moth. But what makes this video even more crazy is usually these moths look like this, without those black hairy things coming out the back. But on special occasions, the males will inflate those things coming out of their body to look like this insane Goliath alien-looking creature. So yeah, this is super rare, and I hope I never see this. Okay, so this may just look like a fun home video of people who found a dancing bug.
I think we should get music to go to
But oh, this is not a friendly bug. It's a toebiter, and trust me, I've made a video on getting these guys as a pet, and I know they are not friendly. So that's why I wasn't surprised when this happened. Okay, bro, I just thought that scream was too funny to not show. Let's see that one more time. Okay, I know the quality on this video is so trash, but it's literally because it's just so insane. Because if you look closely, this is a bee and this is a nail. And this bee is pulling the nail out of the wall. Yeah, and that's like the whole video. Like, is that not insane how a bee is pulling a nail out of the wall? This is either the strongest bee ever, or this is the weakest nail ever. Anyways, yeah, he pulled it out so you could go inside the hole. It's actually very smart. Okay, this video just shows another casual day in Australia.
So the owners had come in to have their morning shower and found the snake curled up.
So yeah, I guess living in Australia means you're okay sharing your house with insane animals like massive snakes. But I kind of feel like this snake was just trying to get clean and take a shower. Like, bro, why are you removing him from the shower? And then even worse, they kidnapped him into this big dark bag. Wow. That is just, that's evil. And earlier, I showed shark encounters from inside cages, but now we got shark encounters outside a cage. And this is where things could go seriously wrong. But thankfully, these were trained professionals under the water, so when the sharks started to show signs of aggression, they knew exactly what to do. You see, the sharks kept advancing towards the divers, and they had to actually keep pushing them away with their hands. And eventually, this shark went up to this diver and actually started to take bites at him. The diver quickly tried to use all of his strength to push back the shark, and thankfully after a bit the shark actually did back off. Dang, that was a close call, but thankfully the diver stayed calm and did everything right. There it is. Way over to object number 2, which I had a good feeling about, and underneath there was actually something cool. Oh, second rock, there's something here. Check it out. It's a little rough-skinned newt, which if you didn't know are actually like pretty dangerous. Yeah, you heard that right. There's a toxic chemical sitting on the skin of this, and if you touch it and then touch your eyes or mouth, you could get poisoned. Alright, sorry for disturbing you. Let me leave you now. Right next to the newt, I found object number 3, which had nothing underneath. Most of the objects will have nothing, so from now on, I'm just gonna skip them. Thankfully though, my luck instantly came back because straight after I came across this.
Where I just walked up to this big chunk of bark and I just saw something really weird. Even though I'm kind of an animal expert, I don't know what this is at all. I'm just gonna touch it with the stick.
But I learned that it's actually called a Pacific banana slug, and apparently it's one of the biggest slugs in the world. They can get way bigger than this. Since this wood seemed promising, I kept looking around and flipped some leaves to find this little black and yellow millipede. The yellow spots on it tell you that it's poisonous if eaten, so I didn't want to mess with it too much, and I kept exploring to find the next object. Behind object number 6 was a bunch of ants crawling up the side of a hill in a line formation.
It's nothing crazy. We're bound to find lots of ants out here, but I actually have something to show these guys. You see, with me, I actually have the backpack, which inside I've packed a ton of random gadgets in order to interact with some of the wild animals out here and show off their cool abilities.
And of course I had something packed for these ants. A half-eaten orange, which I went and took a piece off of and put in the middle of the ant line. As you probably know, ants like this love sugar, and that was demonstrated because it only took until 3 minutes later when I saw that way more ants started to gather around the orange, and they were all putting their little mouths up to it. They were all trying to suck the juice out of it, and then once they were full, they would walk back to the colony and feed some of it to the queen and some newly hatched ants. The next few objects I flipped had nothing, so I made it a solid amount down the trail when it was time for object number 10, which when I flipped, I found a Jerusalem cricket, which is this really weird looking bug that's basically a mutation between a cricket and an alien. After the cricket went into the dirt to hide, I flipped some of the stuff nearby and found another millipede. This guy is also poisonous, which you can tell by its bright red color. Check to see if there's any fish or anything.
Yeah, I'm not really seeing any fish. But rivers like this usually do have tons of cool animals around them because of the moisture, so let's get to flipping.
The first thing I did by the stream was flip this dirty old blanket someone had left behind, which surprisingly didn't have anything hiding under it, but for some reason there was this little leaf which had grown from the blanket. But the second thing I flipped near the stream had the first really cool thing of the journey.
Oh my gosh, wait, there's a scorpion right here. This is the first scorpion.
In specific, it was a small California forest scorpion, which was just sitting there with its stinger ready to strike. With the cooler animals like this, I'm gonna put them in this clear container and take out the backpack. As you know, I've prepared all the stuff in here so I can interact with some of the creatures. And for this guy, I've got some super worms, which yes, are literally just live worms I wanted to try and feed to the scorpion. I put one of them in front of him with some tweezers, and right away he went into defense mode with his stinger up in the air. He kept even grabbing it with his pinchers to basically give it a warning and tell it not to disturb him.
Oh, looks like he's trying to run away. I don't think he wants to be here anymore.
Let me let you loose. Sorry for disturbing you.
A few objects later, I flipped some more stuff and found a couple more insects, like another yellow and black millipede from earlier, another yellow and black millipede again, and another millipede. Yeah, 3 in a row.
What the heck, bro? There's so many of these. I swear this forest is infested with millipedes or something.
Anyways, I kept exploring and ended up finding this.
Oh shoot, look at this log in the light. It's covered in a ton of mushrooms.
Now, the mushrooms don't actually mean anything, but I figured it was a good omen, so I flipped it.
Let's see if there's anything. Oh yes, right here, look. And holy, this snail is like massive. It's like the size of my fingers. Look at that.
And based off of the colors of this, I think it's a Pacific sideband snail, which are pretty cool because they got red bodies, as you can kind of tell here. But anyways, I continued on down the forest trail. That's when I came across this piece of log, which under it I found another one of those rough-skinned newts. But after touching it lightly with a stick, I noticed it wasn't moving a lot, and also it looked really dried out. Thankfully, in the backpack, I had prepared for this.
As you can see, I've got a water bottle, which I think the newt is gonna like.
And with this water, I literally just poured some of it onto the newt. These guys love moisture, and basically this will just rehydrate its skin.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I'm sorry, I don't want to give you too much. I don't want to drown it or anything.
Now, as I continued on, I ended up finding the rarest thing yet. Under this rock, after I flipped it, I saw a little black thing run out from beneath, but I didn't really get to capture it on camera. So I followed the direction it went, and on top of the log, I found it. It's an ant, but not just any ant, it's a winged ant, which only happens during a couple days out of the year. What this means is it's a newly born queen, which ran away from its original colony, and they have these wings, of course, to allow them to fly away and find a new area to start their own colony, which she did.
Oh, and she's off. Dang, that's actually so cool. I've never seen an ant fly before.
Anyways, I kept walking and decided to flip this log.
Oh, yes. Finally, I've been looking for these. A decent-sized earthworm. Yeah, usually people wouldn't be excited about this, but as you know, for me, I have a backpack. And out of the top of it, this whole time, this little Barbie thing's been sticking out. And if you're wondering what it is, it's a Barbie fishing pole. Yeah, I think you can see where I'm going with this.
So I went and tied a hook to the end of the rod. This one does have fish inside. So I put the worm on the princess rod and threw it in to try and catch a fish.
Okay, I don't really know how to do this, but I guess let me just throw the worm out. Oh, that was a bad cast. Throw the worm out.
And yeah, I basically just started fishing. Now, I was actually fishing for a little while with no luck at all. But the thing is, I kept seeing fish jump out of the water. Yeah, that right there, that's a fish. And it looks like they're eating flies that land on the water. At this point, I was super determined to catch a fish, and the worm just wasn't cutting it. Now, thankfully, I actually did bring some artificial fly lures in the backpack. So I tied one of those onto the rod instead of the worm and recasted it out. Yeah, this is just kind of a random side quest, but thankfully it didn't take long until this happened.
Oh yes, I got a fish. Oh, I didn't even realize there was a fish on it.
Yeah, the fish was so small I didn't even feel it on the rod. But hey, it's a success in my book because I was actually able to catch a fish on this princess fishing rod.
All right, sorry buddy, let's get this hook out, and there we go. Go back to nature, buddy. Bye-bye.
The first object I flipped after fishing actually had something really cool underneath. A bunch of little termites, and there was also an ant colony. Normally, these species are not friendly towards each other, and in fact, it kind of looked like the termites might have invaded the ant nest, because I saw that the ants were trying to take their eggs and run away with them. Eventually, because I had moved the log, all of the bugs had run underground through their little holes, and were probably having a massive war or something. Pretty cool. For the 35th object, I sort of inspected under and around this log and found this weird orange spiderweb looking thing inside of it. But orange spiderwebs are not really a thing that exists, so I think it's some sort of fungus or mold. I don't know the exact type though, so comment if you think you know the exact name. Under object number 40, at first I thought there was nothing, but after looking super closely, I actually saw a little salamander. And these guys are basically just like the little newts we've been finding, but smaller. And right next to that salamander, I found this burnt piece of wood, which when I flipped it, I saw another one of those exact same salamanders under it. I got super lucky that I saw both these guys because as you can see, they have specifically evolved over the years to have the exact same color and pattern as the floor so they don't get stuff. I came across object 43. I didn't even need to flip this one because it was actually just a bottle. Oftentimes, animals can get trapped in trash like this, so I looked around by shining my flashlight in there, but thankfully, there was nothing. So I kept the bottle to make sure nothing would. Under this rock here, just like with the salamander, I didn't see anything at first, but after taking a closer look, you can see there's a type of grasshopper right there. Grasshoppers have some of the best camouflage out of any animal, and this one in specific just looks like dead leaves and sticks, and basically just disappears when it walks near some of that. As I kept walking, I eventually came across this part of the forest, which seemed like a small forest fire had run through because everything was burnt. Okay, now while most people would probably think the burnt area is not a good area to check for animals, well, so far for me, under all the burnt pieces of wood I flipped, I found cool stuff like a newt, and that's also where I found one of those salamanders. So I went and flipped a few of the burnt objects and didn't find much besides a few bugs, but right next to all the burnt stuff was this log, which I flipped, and underneath I found another one of those California forest scorpions. But this time there was actually something in its claws that it was eating. I wanted to see what it was eating, so I grabbed it with some tweezers, and yeah, he wasn't so happy about that because he grabbed it back and raised his stinger up in the sky. What the heck? This guy is so mad. I guess he doesn't want me stealing his food. Dang. Also, in the burnt area, I found this, which of course I had to check for animals inside of.
Hold on, this is not a rock I've seen before. What's in here? Oh, we got little spiders, worms, and what's under the object? Oh, there's just a ton of poop down there. It's kind of nasty, actually. That smells bad. I'm getting out there.
But jokes aside, the burnt place was easily the best place I had been so far because under object 53, I found another queen ant just running around.
Oh, shoot, look at this.
So I scooped it up into the clear container to get a better look at it, and as you can see, it kind of has these little scars on the thorax where the wings used to be. And because of how big the abdomen is, you can tell this queen is fertile and ready to start laying eggs. Now, I actually did bring something in the backpack in case I was able to catch a queen ant without wings, and it's this little container. You see, what I did was fill it up with some moss and dirt and then put the queen ant inside of it. If you're a fan of the channel, you know I love simulating ant colonies at home and raising them from a single queen, so I'll be taking this ant home with me and starting a colony with it. Under object 55, which was also burnt, I found another scorpion.
Yo, another scorpion. I'm telling you, this burnt area is actually completely stacked with the coolest animals.
Now, even though I was finding a bunch of cool stuff in this burnt area, as you can see on the map, I was getting super close to the desert. And to be honest, I really wanted to get there, so I didn't flip a single more thing.
Well, here we go. I made it to the heart of the desert, basically. And right away, there's one thing I gotta do. I gotta, first of all, take out the backpack. And inside, I'm gonna pull out these.
Now, these are snake gaiters, and they're basically made out of a material that snakes can't bite through. So I went and put them on my legs just because, honestly, I did not want to get bit by a rattlesnake out here. Anyways, I started to make my way down the desert trail, and it didn't take long until I found a rock that looked like it was good to flip. And I'm not kidding, instantly I found something interesting. As you can see, it's a desert scorpion, which has a more potent venom than those ones I was finding in the forest, and also they can get way bigger. In fact, there's a chance out in this desert we'll find some desert hairy scorpions, which are the largest in the United States. Anyways, I continued on the search for desert animals, and the next few rocks I flipped all had either tiny little beetles or some of these larger darkling beetles, which were actually pretty cool looking. As I continued on through the desert desert trail, I found this rock here, and underneath of it was this little hole. Inside, it looked like I had found another queen ant, and it looked like it had dug out this little burrow and was trying to start a colony. But unlike the queen ants I found earlier in this video, this one had already laid its eggs. You see, after queens lay their eggs, they can get stressed from stuff really easily, so I put the rock back over it so it could continue caring for them in peace. And under the next rock, I found an absolutely minuscule baby centipede. He didn't really like being in the sun though, and instantly dug underground. 2 rock flips later, I found another centipede, and this time it looked like it was a bit bigger, but it burrowed completely into the dirt. I wanted to show it off though, so of course I dug it out, and as you can see, they're extremely fast. But if we pause the video, you can actually see it has a slight green tint to it, which means it's a banded desert centipede, which actually have venomous bites, so I made sure to keep my hands away. I continued to flip some rocks, and after flipping rock 76, out of the corner of my eye, I saw something. Right here behind the bush, there was a little lizard that was super well camouflaged. And as you already know, lizards are pretty cool, so of course I prepared something in the backpack for this guy. It was a single cricket, so I carefully dropped him near the lizard without spooking it. And it was funny because his head instantly snapped towards the cricket, and I guess he has some pretty good predator instincts because yeah, he just ate that thing right away in one bite. You can even see the cricket's little head poking out of the mouth. Pretty brutal. The same thing happened 5 minutes later after flipping rock 78 because out of the corner of my eye, I saw an animal.
Wait, do you see that? That thing is so camouflaged. I think it's like a little bug.
And I was right, because you remember that super camouflaged deadleaf grasshopper from earlier? Well, this is the desert equivalent of that. And it was cool because when I got my hand a little too close, it jumped away. And when I followed it, you can see each time it jumps, it brings out these little orange wings, which it uses to go super fast. But yeah, with a pattern like this, I have no idea how I was able to see this. The next rock I flipped had a ton of ants under it. But if you look very closely, you can actually see they were all eating a dead lizard. I'm not sure how this lizard died, but it shows the brutal reality of the desert and how ants will take any food they can find laying around. Under rock 90, I found another one of those desert scorpions. Now this was a good sign because scorpions like this have a super cool ability when it turns dark. So as it got darker and darker, I kept flipping rocks hoping to find another one of those scorpions. I got all the way to rock 97, under it was nothing, then rock 98, which again had nothing. I was starting to lose hope, but then on rock 99, this happened.
Oh, yes. I don't even know how I saw that, but look right there. That's a scorpion. Its tail just moved.
Now, in order to show off the scorpion's special ability, I got out the backpack and grabbed out a special UV flashlight. Once I turned off my light, I turned on the UV light and boom, check it out.
Look at the scorpion. It glows in the dark, a bright neon green color.
The scorpion ended up running away, so I went to flip rock went all over the glass and none of the stuff a snake would actually need.
Hey, $55. It's honestly not that bad of a deal. Let's go save this snake.
So I drove out to the cellar and bought the tank for $55.
Okay, I just got this in my car and I've got to take this home quickly to make sure the snake inside is healthy. And if it is, I'm going to revamp this trash into a dream home to give the snake inside his best life. I've got no time to waste. Let's go.
After getting it home, the first step was to, of course, remove the snake from the enclosure.
So I have this tool to grab it. I really hope the snake in there isn't venomous. I have to be super careful.
I obviously didn't want to get my hands anywhere near this enclosure since the snake could be anywhere, so I used the tool to try and take out as many of the objects as I could. And it didn't take long until when I moved this piece of paper towel, I saw a glimpse of the snake under it. Thankfully, after seeing it move, it looked like it was still in good health, so I picked it up to take a closer inspection.
Okay, come on, snake. Let me get you in this temporary tank real quick.
And after comparing the colors and pattern of the snake to a bunch of different species, I think I found out exactly what species it was.
Okay, check this out. This is called a Kenyan sand boa, and this looks exactly like the one I got. Okay, if this is actually a Kenyan sand boa, that means it's not venomous, and I should actually be able to just go and pick it up. Are you gonna bite me?
Now, at first, I was pretty scared to pick it up, but then I realized it was actually super chill and friendly and wouldn't bite me at all.
Oh, look at this. Okay, from what I know, this species is actually a super good pet, so this is gonna be awesome.
But the main reason I was so excited about this species is because they have this special ability to burrow themselves in the floor and pop out to strike prey when it walks by. And yeah, I'm gonna get to watch that happen. It's so cool. Anyways, first, to start this enclosure transformation process, step number 1 is to take out the ugly remaining decorations.
Okay, I have no idea why there's all this random stuff in here, like a giant fake plant. This is not at all what sand boas need.
So of course, I gathered all of that up and threw it straight into the garbage garbage bin where it belongs.
Then that leaves us with this. This is so bad. There's just paper towels as the floor and a random pile of dirt. Yeah, sand boas need at least a couple inches of substrate for the floor so they can go in it and burrow. So this is definitely not good enough. Yeah, let's get this out of here. And like, why is there just random like red stains on this? Yeah,
after taking the remaining dirt out, I had to finally get out a little razor and scrape off all these little piles of glue and dirt off the wall. I have no idea why they were there, but they're ugly, so they gotta go.
Well, we're back to just the tank now, and this is where things get fun.
You see, the first step to build the snake's dream home is to create the background. And to do that, I used some animal-safe spray foam to cover the entire back of the glass so I could attach rocks and sticks. You see, I want to create a mix of a desert and forest in this enclosure to sort of mimic the snake's natural habitat. And to complete that look, I covered the remaining foam in some sand and other foresty decorations like dirt.
All right, this background's looking pretty nice and foresty, but for step 2 of making this a dream home is to put the floor and decorations in.
But before I can put any dirt in here, I first have to fill it with a bunch of these clay balls and then cover those with some window screen.
Now, if you're a terrarium expert, you already know what I'm doing. Basically, what I've built here will allow water to pass through just like that, but not dirt, essentially creating a drainage layer in here which will stop mold from growing. So yeah, that's pretty good.
Now for the substrate mix that goes on top, we're only going to use a little bit of sand. You see, despite being called a sand boa, it's actually better for the species to have this wood chip stuff called cypress bedding make up most of the floor. But I also mixed in some other brown foresty stuff to make it a little bit softer. Finally, I poured a few inches of that inside and covered it in a thin layer of just dirt to make it less ugly.
Now for the decorations, and as you can see, I got a ton of stuff, but I want to make this interesting to watch, so start this super cool epic building decorations montage. Let's go. Yeah, that was pretty cool. But now you're probably noticing that the left and right sides of the enclosure are looking pretty barren and empty. Well, that's because step number 3 is to put DIY decorations there.
First up, the left side. Here, I want to build a giant massive tree trunk that looks like it has leaves and stuff coming off of it. And to do that, I went and gathered all the wood I had in my house into a big container so I could easily access it.
This is all just leftover wood from previous videos. Yeah, sometimes I buy a little bit too much, but today it's gonna have a use.
Now, I didn't have much of an idea of how I would do this, but I figured I would just start by using spray foam to connect little pieces of the wood together, and then I continued to stack the wood up to make it look like the trunk of a tree, and then I stuck some branches onto it.
All right, this is a little bit looking like a tree trunk. I still gotta go and cover this exposed spray foam, but for now, check this out. It's just a bunch of carpet moss. I'm basically just gonna attach it to the tree so it looks like there's a bunch of leaves coming off of it. Should look pretty good. Let's do that.
And so using my hot glue gun, that's exactly what I did. After putting the moss all over it, I covered most of the exposed spray foam with some dirt and then glued a couple actual leaves hanging from the tree.
All right, this looks just like a tree, and we're done. Oh. Yeah. Anyways, that means we can move to the right side DIY decoration. And to start that, I've got the base right here.
This is a normal cave decoration that you could buy for snakes to hide in. But I ended up getting out some real rocks and using more spray foam to attach them all around the cave. You know, I didn't want it to just look like a normal boring decoration that I bought. So yeah, this made it look nice and natural.
All right, there we go. A nice little rock cave. And as you can see, it's pretty deep and dark in there. Wait, let me see if I can turn on my flashlight. Oh yeah, I got the light on and look at that. You can just see down in there. It's nice and pretty cozy. How about the snake's gonna like to go and hide in there?
But now for the final step to finishing this foresty dream home is to get some plants.
All right, and as usual, I don't have any plants, so let's go to the plant store. Okay, I'm at the plant store, and as you can see, they got a nice, beautiful selection here, but I actually just need to pick out, like, the smallest ones I could find. Okay, here's the small section. Let me just pick out some of this grass stuff. Oh, I'm gonna get this little one here, and oh man, I was just gonna get 2, but I'm just gonna let myself go crazy. Let's get this one too.
After driving home, I got the plants out and put them around in the enclosure. But after doing that, I still felt like there wasn't enough greenery, so I got some of the carpet moss from earlier and scattered that around too.
All right, and now to finish this off, I just want to put a nice heat bulb right there, and then put a UVB bulb right next to it, and as you can see, looks pretty good. Got those going.
As you can see in the basking spot under the heat lamp, it was a nice 90 degrees, and over in the cooler side of the enclosure, it was about 75 degrees, which is perfect for the snake, so it can decide how hot or cold it wants to be. Well, anyways, this enclosure has been completely transformed from that pretty trash home into a chunk of nature that I think the snake is gonna enjoy a lot.
All right, well, I guess let me just take these paper towels out. I've just been keeping the Kenyan sand boa in this temporary enclosure, and oh, look at you. Aww. All right, so I'm just gonna go and pick him up just like this. And welcome to your new home, boy. I hope you like it. Oh, and he's just already going straight into the dirt. All right, I guess I'll see you later, man.
Yeah, when I said these guys like to burrow in the floor, I really meant it. I don't know how long it's been since this guy's had the chance to be able to do it, but you can tell he was loving it.
Bro, I don't even know where the snake went. Oh, wait, no, you can see its tail right there. But other than that, it's completely just disappeared.
But if you look closely in this footage, you can see the dirt slightly moving around from where this guy was digging underground.
Well, I want to get this guy fed right away since I don't know when he last ate. But yeah, I don't have any mice right now to feed it, so I gotta go to the store to go buy them. Let's go. All right, I'm at Petco right now, and let me just find the frozen mice section. Okay, here they are. And as you can see, they got all these just kept in little bags like this small rat. But since my sandbow is kind of small, let's just get some of these super small fuzzy mice, which are like the size of my thumb. Okay, let me get like 3 of these.
When I got home, I let water run over one of the frozen mice to thaw it out. And once it was thawed, I took it out the package to feed to the snake.
All right, well, I've got the mouse here, just grabbing it by the tail with some tweezers. And let's just see if the snakes can go in and eat it.
The snake was somewhere burrowed in the floor, so I just laid the mouse on top and waited about 10 minutes to see if maybe it would pick up the scent or something and eat it. But after 10 minutes, I saw literally nothing.
Okay, well, clearly having the mouse just stay still is not working, so I'm gonna pick it up by the tail again and just kind of start shaking it up and down on top of the dirt. And I'm hoping this is gonna create little vibrations, which will set off the snake's predator instincts, and it'll come pop up, hopefully sometime around now. Hello?
So I did that for about 5 minutes, and unfortunately not even that worked. But I think I knew why the snake wasn't coming up to eat. So to fix the problem, I drove to Petco again, and this time came home with a way smaller mouse. So I did that same thing with the smaller mouse and wiggled it above right where the snake was, and immediately this happened.
Oh, yo, it just ate it. Okay. I was trying to do that for a while, but look at that. That was so cool. It just popped up out of the dirt, and oh man, imagine being a live mouse and you have to deal with that.
And as you can see, it didn't take long for the snake to start expanding its mouth so it can completely engulf the mouse.
Yo, look at this snake, bro. He is just going crazy. I can't even film this. His body's just wrapped around the mouth. You can even see his mouth. Oh my god, that is so cool to watch.
You see, because this is a boa, they wrap around their prey to constrict it. Even though it is brown, there was random trash, and somehow there was a live axolotl inside. Apparently, the seller's uncle gave it to him, and he needed someone to take care of it for him.
But $5. Dang, that's extremely cheap. Let me go save this axolotl.
So I drove out to the seller and bought the tank with the axolotl for $5.
Okay, I just got this in my car, and we gotta take this home to see if the axolotl inside is gonna be able to survive.
And I really hope it's okay, because if it is, I'm gonna completely revamp this home into a dream home paradise so we can give this axolotl his best life.
Quickly, I went home and set up a filter in the water so I would be able to see inside. But after letting it run for 30 minutes, the water literally did not clear up at all.
Okay, I have no time to waste, so I'm just gonna try and dig around and scoop it out with this net, even though I can't see anything.
So I started to take each decoration out one by one, and it didn't take long until I saw this little thing at the bottom of the net. I had found the axolotl, and thankfully it was still in good health. So I quickly moved it out into a temporary tank and was super surprised by what I saw.
Guys, this is not a normal axolotl. This is actually a super rare axolotl. It has the golden trait, and it also looks like it's albino and a baby. To put in perspective how rare this is, this whole tank was like $5, as you know. I could probably sell this right now as it is for over $100.
And little did I know, this axolotl was even rarer than I thought. It actually had a special gene that made it be able to glow in the dark and more. Yeah, this video is insane. Anyways, to start the enclosure transformation process, step number 1 was to empty out that disgusting sewage water.
Okay, I don't even know where to begin with how bad this tank is. Pretty much every decoration's a fake plastic one. The substrate is absolutely nasty, and just the whole thing has no structure to it. It's just plain ugly.
So I took out all the trash decorations and threw them in the garbage where they belong. Then I emptied out all the sand, since I'm pretty sure that's what was causing the water to be so brown.
And finally, what the heck is this, bro? Why did the seller's uncle just tape a picture of bamboo on the wall? It doesn't fit, and it doesn't even make sense. Like, axolotls don't live with bamboo. Yeah, that is so dumb. Let's rip this trash off of there.
Anyways, now that we're back to the bare bones of this tank, the first step is to build the lake bed base. To build that, we start by just putting a ton of sand in here and piling it up in a mound in the middle of the tank, because I have a cool idea for this. You see, axolotls live at the bottom of lakes in the wild, so to build that in here, I stuck some wooden branches in the sand and surrounded them in a ton of river rocks. Which, if you're wondering the names of them, this type is called a Tahaiji stone, and this one is called a Seiryu stone.
stone. Yeah, I don't know who names these, but I would just call them smooth stone and rough stone. Those are better names. Anyways, I also want to cover these mounds in tons of aquatic plants, which if you've seen my channel before, you know these are extremely expensive.
I mean, look at all of these. This totals to $125. Please subscribe.
Well, I forced myself to forget the price while I planted them around, and I made it look absolutely beautiful. I put the taller plants near the back of the mound and the smaller plants up near the front, since it adds some nice depth in here, or something like that. All right, it's starting to look pretty good, but to complete the sides, this is where we're going to put the custom DIY builds. And you see, in the wild, axolotls like to hide in little rock caves because that's where they feel safe from predators. So I'm gonna build a custom little cave on the right side, and to start that, I found this basket in my house.
Oh, this is gonna work perfectly. Let's just get that out of there.
With this, I started by getting out a heavy-duty saw and cutting a hole in it that would serve as the entrance to the cave. And then I quickly sanded down the rough edges and used my hot glue gun to start gluing these little thin gray rocks all around it to obviously give it that cave look. And after I was done gluing all those on, it actually looked pretty solid. But as you can see, some of the hot glue I used to connect it was still exposed, so I quickly covered that in some pebbles. Once I was done, I put the enclosure in, and it didn't really fit. So I took it out and rearranged some of the rocks and put it back in, and boom, perfect fit.
There we go. I think that cave looks pretty good in the grand scheme of things, and yeah, it is a pretty small entrance to get inside, but obviously the rare axolotl is still a baby, so it should be able to fit in there just fine.
Anyways, I finished it off by putting some plants right out in front and a couple big rocks on top to make it look more cavey. There we go. Everything's starting to come together well, but now it's time to design the left side.
And if you guys remember, that first version of the tank had this big ugly like bamboo wallpaper along the back, but anyways, this did actually get me kind of inspired, and for the left side, I want to make it just like bamboo themed, you know. We got to keep a little bit of the original, because I guess it wouldn't really be transforming if we didn't. So let's get that done.
For the first decoration, I of course got out some brown sticks of bamboo, so it'd be bamboo-y, you know. And on each stick of bamboo, I started to drill little holes. You see, axolotls like to have resting spots near the top of their enclosures. That way they can easily swim up and gulp air from the surface. So to build something like that, I got out some string and started to thread all the bamboo together. I kind of felt like a grandma doing this, you know, sewing away with a needle. Yeah, it was pretty fun though. Anyways, I hot glued the ends of the string so they wouldn't move, and boom, check this out. A bamboo hammock that the axolotl can rest on. In order to get it attached to the top of the enclosure, I once again used some hot glue to put on some little suction cups, and in no time it was complete.
All right, there we go. Check the hammock out. I'm sure the axolotl's gonna like to lay on this, and yeah, to complete this left side, we're gonna add a little more bamboo decoration. And so in the sand, I want to put some live actual bamboo. It's curly for some reason, not really know why, but I'm gonna plant this in the sand.
So I put each of the bamboos there under the hammock and covered it in a mound of sand.
But I'm not done yet. I've been saving the coolest addition for last. And this next thing is gonna take this from a normal aquarium to, well, if I'm being honest, it's probably still gonna be kind of normal, but it's gonna be cooler looking.
Now to build this thing, I first got out some giant plastic boards and glued them together to make one giant board. Then I covered it all with some black felt.
Now you're probably wondering why I built this giant black platform.
But basically the reason is because I can go and put it right behind the tank just like this.
And then now what I'm gonna do is use these things called plant pockets, glue them to the back of that, and basically what this allows me to do is, you know, put plants in them, and we're gonna have some overhanging plants in here.
But first I needed to go get the plants, so like always I drove to Walmart.
Okay, I'm at Walmart now, and look at this. Bro, this is usually where all the plants are. For some reason they replaced them all with plastic Christmas trees. Who cares about these? I want my plants back. All they got is these stupid roses.
Yeah, it turns out the plants are gone from Walmart for the season, so instead I had to go to a normal, boring plant shop and get the plants there.
Okay, I was kind of sad that I had to abandon Walmart, but this was only like $50 for all these plants. Like, dang, that's actually a good deal. It's definitely cheaper than those aquatic plants. We don't talk about those, though.
When I got home, I got out the plants and put them all inside their little pockets.
And dang, check this whole thing out. It actually looks all right. Just don't go around and look at the back.
Yeah, it's kind of curving, but honestly, it kind of gives a cool effect, and you know, it makes the plant leaves drip over the top.
Anyways, now to complete the build, I just got to do some finishing touches, and what that means is I first filled it up with some cycled water and attached a filter on it.
Okay, I've never used one of these filters before, but apparently it's pretty cool. I just gotta go and plug it in down here. And dang, check this out. Look, it's like a waterfall. It makes a bunch of these little water streams. But I guess when I want it to be quiet, I can just go like that, and there we go. Can't really hear it anymore.
Now I saved the best thing for last, this little gift present.
Okay, this is actually cool what's inside. Basically, it's this little glass crystal ball with a hologram of an axolotl inside. There we go. So what you do is you put it on this little platform, and basically it just kind of glows there and changes colors.
Anyways, this is now completely transformed, and it's time to not only add in the golden axolotl to his new home, but show off exactly what axolotls do during their days and show off how it can literally glow out of its temporary enclosure, and bada bing, bada boom, welcome to your new home. Right away, he started to explore around his new tank and eventually made his way into the cave I built for him.
Okay, so the axolotl's in the cave right now, so this is the perfect time to test out some foods with him to see which he likes the most. And first up, I want to test just some normal fish food. Yeah, I don't know if he's actually going to eat it. It's fish food, it's not axolotl food, but let's try it out.
So I dropped them in and let them sit for a little while, but yeah, he didn't really eat them, and he didn't even come out to take a look at them. A little later, the axolotl left the cave, so I got out the second food, bloodworms.
But these are frozen bloodworms, so to make them, you know, not frozen anymore, just kind of plop the packet in a little cup of water like that. And we can go and just take this big chunk and put it in right next to the axolotl.
And it didn't take long until he noticed it and instantly took a snap at it, eating the whole pile up.
And oh my gosh, he just ate that whole thing. Oh dang, he's hungry.
Anyways, I got the third and final food source out, night crawlers.
Which are just worms basically, but they're giant worms compared to those tiny little blood worms. Okay, here we go. We got a nice little tiny piece of worm, and we're just gonna drop it in right next to the axolotl.
And after wiggling it around in front of him, he picked up the scent, and as you can expect, yep, he started going crazy, eating this worm up too.
He's absolutely just devouring this, just shaking it up. He's not letting this thing get away. That's a good axolotl. Oh my gosh, this guy's so cool. We actually got this guy for $5. I can't believe that.
Anyways, later that day, I was watching some videos about axolotls and figured out that sometimes they can be bred to literally glow in the dark under UV light. Which, I mean, look at that. That is just so cool.
Okay, so I got all the lights turned off in my room, and it's nighttime. So I got this little light, and when you click the button, it turns on the UV rays, and oh, that's blinding. But anyways, I just want to shine this in here and see if my axolotl actually has that glow in the dark ability. I actually have no idea if this is gonna work. Wait. Oh, okay, wait. I actually did not expect that to work. Oh, look at the axolotl. He's just glowing in the dark. Yeah, I don't really know what I expected, but it's actually pretty cool. So for whatever reason, if I can't find the axolotl, I just turn off the lights, click this button, and boom, you're found, buddy. You're never gonna be able to hide from me ever again. Also, by the way, I want to let you guys know we're trying to hit 1 million subscribers before the end of the year, which you know is about not a lot of time. So I'm sorry guys, but I gotta pull out the statistic. Check this out. Basically, it means only 7% of you guys watching right now are actually subscribed. And if everyone watching is subscribed, we'd be way past our goal. So anyways, just if you're enjoying this video, subscribe, please. Thank you.
Anyways, axolotls have so much cool stuff about them that I didn't even cover in this video. And I'll definitely be making more videos about this guy in the future. So if you got any cool name suggestions, comment them down below. Remember to check out the merch and get it while the sale lasts. Thanks for watching, and click the video on the screen to watch another. These are mealworms, and they're known for their ability to eat almost anything. But what if you put 10,000 mealworms on a whole watermelon? How quickly would they completely eat it and turn it to mush despite its massive size? Yeah, I don't know, so that's why I bought 10,000 mealworms.